It is Tuesday, February 18th, and it is time to get in the weeds. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is SP3. We appreciate y'all joining us this morning on a beautiful, maybe, I don't know, it's snowing outside here. It's cold as all get out here. It's like -2 degrees. What's the weather like for you, SP3?
Oh, it's cold as hell. It's cold as hell in this room that I'm in right now. Like I'm freaking freezing. My neck hurts, so it's not doing any help for that. But it's a Tuesday. We're here on In the Weeds, the new generation, the new era of In the Weeds. Week 3 of us doing Tuesday shows. So how you doing, Jeremy? I even wore a Will Ospreay shirt that kind of fits in with our exterior here.
Yeah, SP3 is working hurt out here with the neck injury.
I have neck fusion, neck compression. I have the same symptoms as Sami Zayn right now.
Yeah. No, SP3, everybody wish SP3 well as he puts on this show for you guys. This is a unsanctioned show. SP3 has not been cleared by our medical officials. He had to sign a waiver to be on this show. So if anything happens to him during this show, we are not legally responsible for SP3.
FIFO made me sign a hold harmless agreement. They were thinking that I was gonna get punched in the mouth like Javon Evans or something like that. So they was like, you gotta sign this whole harmless agreement. Jimmy Van and Sean Ross Sapp and Jeremy maybe signed that.
I think it's SP3's mic who clips like this because it feels like it's only on shows I'm with you on. Like this doesn't happen when I'm on shows with Joel. So I'm going to blame you for the mic clipping. Well, now you're muted.
Yeah, I muted myself. I put my mic in and then back out. So do you still hear the clicking anymore?
Not yet, but we'll see if it persists.
There you go. There you go. See, I just had to plug it in, plug it out. We'll be fine, guys. We'll be fine. Sorry about that first 2 minutes. I know that was very, very, very hard for all of you guys, but appreciate y'all for joining us today. Like I said, I had to sign a whole harmless agreement, so I'm sure we're going to have a great show today, talking about Monday Night Raw, talking about any of the news in the wrestling world, and we got a great interview coming up at the top of the second hour. Yes, we're only supposed to do we're top of the third hour. We're only supposed to do 2 hours, but we're like Monday Night Raw this week. We're going a little bit over 2 hours because we got very special guest Maya World joining us today.
Yes, Maya World is scheduled to join us at noon today, so we'll be running a little bit long to accommodate Maya, who's very gracious with her time. Guys, if you're here, we're about 3 minutes in. Leave a thumbs up on the video. Can we get the pyro? Oh, there's a subliminal messaging and the pyro. Leave a thumbs up on the video. That helps us out. That helps the channel out. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Tap the bell for notifications if you haven't done that already. And you can leave a super chat to get your question, comment, statement read on the air, like Vala B leaving us a super chat. Are we on the road to Mania? ? Because it really doesn't feel like it. Anyway, All-Star Weekend remains ass again. We don't have much to talk about with All-Star Weekend. You know what? We'll talk about the road to WrestleMania because I see SP3's headline that he's waiting for the road to start.
But I was supposed to be here. I thought I've been waiting for this train for a long time. I've been waiting to get on the road for a while now. Like I thought February 1st was supposed to be the start of the road, and it's like February what, 18th, 19th? Like yeah, we're still waiting.
You gotta go yourself, SP3. You can't wait on the train. You got to get in the car yourself, put in the destination, put it in the GPS, and you got to drive.
My Uber driver told me we have a GPS and I just follow the directions and they got the twists and the turns and this is what we do. So I just let him do what he does, but I'm still waiting. So that's why I'm a little bit confused. So we'll talk about that today as well.
You know what's more important than all of that? You know what's more important than wrestling is the greatest wrestling show of all time. You've watched it. Agreed. I've watched it. Folks, if you have not watched the final episodes of Cobra Kai, I'm going to say mute us for the time being. I'm going to say tune out for the next 15 to 20 to 30 minutes. Who knows how long we're going to talk about Cobra Kai, but the final episodes of Cobra Kai are out. And let me tell you, this is real sports entertainment. This is real pro wrestling, not the stuff you see literally every single day on the week, because wrestling's on every single day. Cobra, Cobra Kai, everybody. The final episodes are out there. The greatest show of all time, SP3. I will hear no other arguments.
Well, let me get the criticism out of the way.
What?
Right. I'm gonna get some criticism, but it has nothing to do with the crop of episodes that we just saw.
Okay.
I would say season 6, part 1, part 2 was some of the worst Cobra Kai television that I think I've seen. And I say that from a point of love, because I feel like we got to the end of the destination and we had a logical conclusion to a lot of our storylines at the end of season 5. The Saikai Taikai was a nice little kind of tidbit that they left at the end of season 5 to take us into season 6, but it basically was a lot of retread. It's Kreese is now the enemy and now the sensei of Cobra Kai again. We already did that. It's Terry Silver's back and he's with the Iron Dragons and we got to defeat him again. We just did that. It's like a lot of retread of stuff, and then I felt the jumping of the shark moment was Quan dying at the end of season 6, part 2. I know, Jeremy, you like all that crap television. Yeah. I don't. That wasn't a logical way to go with everything, and I don't think that they really followed that up well to make that have a big impact in season 6, part 3. But what I will say is that Cobra Kai season 6, part 3 might be the greatest conclusion to any show of all time. I've never been on the edge of my seat and like cheering and like popping like I was watching a pro wrestling event. Like it's Sting is here. It's that type of stuff. The reunions, the episode 13. In general, I want to pinpoint that one because, a lot of people will focus on the finale. A lot of people will focus on different episodes or the second to last episode. But episode 13, with the best acting that we've seen in the series, with Johnny and Kreese finally reconciling, finally going through everything. Just him Kreese touching his shoulder as he's expressing himself. He knocks it away and then he touches it again and he flinches and then he finally just relents and he goes into his arms, and that's a callback to Robbie and Johnny reuniting at the end of season 4. It's so beautiful. It's so touching. And then they top it off. They put the cherry on top of this beautiful Sunday and we get the reveal that Johnny is back as the sensei of Cobra Kai and Miguel is the male champion for Cobra Kai with Tori. We got the OG trio back in Cobra Kai. They go back to the dojo the next episode. That ending of episode 13 gave me all the feelings. It gave me all the feelings of a great wrestling reunion. Like all the people that was like hyped off of last year when they saw Jimmy and Jay hug again. When 2 years ago, when they saw Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn hug it out again. Like that type of emotion that you get from pro wrestling. I 100% agree with you. There is no better pro wrestling TV show that has nothing to do with pro wrestling quite like Cobra Kai.
I thought it was predictable in how, and this is not a bad thing to say it's predictable. I thought it was predictable in how they set up the return of Cobra Kai. Why can't I say this word today? Cobra Kai. You could kind of see it coming when we got to name a replacement for Quan because he's dead. And then Robbie gets taken out with the dragon screw leg whip. And he
he learned that from Tanahashi, man. Yeah. My man Axel learned that from Tanahashi. Cracked that leg. It's like
I was like, oh, Miguel's gonna be the replacement. Oh, Tori's gonna. Johnny's gonna get it. You could see it coming. And I was like, it doesn't matter. This is so good. This is so good.
It's so good. It was hitting all the points. And like, I really thought, I know you're not much of a Robbie fan, but I have grown a liking to Robbie since like season 4. And I thought that, the good thing for him is finally him getting a win. He's always been second place in all these competitions, but the way they ended things with him, getting hurt and having to be, kind of disqualified from the competition, and the way he handled it and talked about how karate brought him his father. Karate brought him a family. Karate brought him his girlfriend and all that stuff. It's just like, it was like, yeah, that's the perfect way to kind of end his thing. And then the same thing with like Sam deciding to quit, because if you remember the first Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi wanted LaRusso to be done after that first All Valley. He was like, no more fighting. You're going into early retirement. The best thing that you could do is to not fight. You learn how to do karate so you don't have to fight. And Sam realizing that lesson that, quite frankly, Daniel never learned, because Daniel, once he saw Cobra Kai, he went right back into that mentality that he had before Miyagi tried to teach him that lesson. So, man, that was just a great way to kind of close off those character arcs. And yeah, it didn't need to be Miguel and Tori at the end fighting the people from the Iron Dragons. And man, Tori and Homegirl, that was a 5-star. That was a 5-star squash. That was a 5-star squash. Even though the homegirl had the early advantage, man. Once Tori got that pep talk from Robbie, no effing mercy, and she put on the Sam LaRusso fighting stance, it was like, oh, homegirl, you're done. You're done. You're done. And then she kicked her teeth out. Oh my god.
I love that
and then she stood over her. She stood over her like she was Smokey talking to Debo in front.
I love that they booked themselves into the corner with Sam. Like, oh, we can't have Sam lose to Tori because Tori was the logical winner, so she could face Malika. I think that was her name. So she could face her. But they were like, oh, we can't have Sam lose. Well, Sam has learned a lesson. Sam is gonna bow out gracefully, and it's not all about fighting. Like, yeah, that's good booking right there. They saw themselves in the corner. You can't down your top baby face like that with a loss. No, just have her bow out gracefully, step aside. It's the Usos and New Day out here. There's a callback for everybody.
That is a good reference. Good reference point.
Step aside there. I was like, yeah, good booking. You know my favorite part of this whole season, though, don't you?
And it's the Terry Silver and John Kreese fight.
Because they just blew up a boat.
Dude, I literally had to go to Twitter, and it's still on my Twitter page, where I just said the ending of episode 14, and I recorded myself being like, "What the fuck?"
Perfect. It was so perfect.
It was the perfect way to end their whole rivalry, their whole personality. And because we already got him kind of having the closure with Tori Kreese, having the closure with Johnny, Kreese was the one who took Cobra Kai from Johnny in the first place at the end of season 2, and to give it back to him, to give it back to Miguel, give it back to Tori, and then just right off in the sunset. And just when Silver was about to kind of take it to a next level, he's talking about going after Johnny's newborn. Like, what the hell? My dude, you were somehow worse without the cocaine than you were with the cocaine in Karate Kid. I don't know what we're going through here.
That's true heel shit. He was going true heel stuff right there.
He's going deep down. And mind you, they didn't even say nothing about Kreese killed the homeboy. Kreese killed the homeboy that was in Karate Kid 3. Because he was sending him off to go after Johnny's daughter, and then he killed him, and then that's what the fight led to. And I love how Silver says no, and he says mercy.
I cackled when they blew up the boat. I was like, yes, this is what this show needs, a giant ass explosion for no real reason. And murder. I'm all about the murder. It's like, this is what we need here. I legitimately thought, so Baldur finisher saying they survived that. I thought at the end, when like Daniel's catching the fly and Daniel and Johnny are having this nice sit down at the diner and stuff, I was like, Kreese is just going to walk through that door. He's going to somehow still be alive.
He's going to survive.
Yeah. I'm like, he's just gonna walk through that door, and that's gonna be the end of the show. Is Kreese? We learn that Kreese survives. It's like, oh, are we gonna get another series out of this? And that did not happen. I was a little disappointed, but I was waiting for it. And we got the good ending of everyone was good with each other. Everybody got a happy ending. All the baby faces triumphed in the end. All the heels died or got their comeuppance in the end. It was perfect pro wrestling. That's what it was.
It was. And I even liked because Cobra Kai wins the male and the and we do have to address though, because I love Miguel. But my God, does he have plot armor? There's a lot of plot armor around Miguel. Like, Axel is a multi-time world champion, and all Miguel had to do was remember all his lessons to defeat him. I was just like, okay, this plot armor for Miguel is sometimes ridiculous, but I'm a huge Miguel fan, so I accept it.
Miguel also, he was AI Axel, so he was in Axel's head on all of that, so he knew some of the movements that were coming. Yes, on top of just he remembered all of his training and lessons, including being paralyzed for a time. And that's real babyface stuff, though. This man could not walk, and he came back. He came back to become a champion.
And I did call him winning with the tornado kick that he couldn't hit in season 4. That one that broke his back against Hawk. I was like, he's got to win with that. He's got to win with the tornado kick. And when he hits it, I was like, yeah, there we go.
So good. So good. Perfect professional wrestling is what Cobra Kai.
And then it was perfect because you would think that's the conclusion of it all. Miguel and Tori winning. And then they say, no, we got one more episode to go. So no, the sensei
Johnny had to get his redemption, man. Johnny had to get his win. When they said it was a tie, I was like, oh, trainers are fighting.
Yes, I did too. I called it. I was like, it's got to be the senseis.
Yep. Johnny's got to fight. That's the only way to settle this thing. Is Johnny has to get his redemption on thing. I thought for a second like Silver was gonna step in and fight for the Iron Dragons, but then when they showed him on the boat and I know it was very sick. I didn't think that mattered. Like, who cares if he's about to die of cancer and everything? He could still get in there. And then when they showed him on a boat and he's gonna plot against Johnny Sins, like, no, I don't think Silver's actually gonna fight. Something else is gonna happen. I did not predict the entire boat blowing up, but that was fantastic. That was my favorite part. But everybody got their happy ending. All is well that ends well in the Cobra Kai. We got AI Miyagi. He was back.
Oh
well.
My God. The AI Miyagi killed me, but it was a touching moment. I know that meant a lot to Ralph Macchio as much as it did to Daniel LaRusso. And I like the fact that it was Danny training Johnny. And then at the end, when he sees that Johnny is not confident in himself, he literally gives him a Johnny pep talk. It wasn't a Daniel balance it up. It was like, you son of a bitch. Like, what the fuck? It was like, we don't
quit being a pussy.
Quit being a pussy.
Go out there. Like, you don't need points. Yes. Points are for pussies.
I was like, yes, tell him, let him know. Absolutely. And then I was like, the moment that was the full circle for everything is Danny handing Johnny the trophy and saying, "You're all right, Lawrence." I was like, oh, I want to cry. You're all right, LaRusso, 1984. You're all right, Lawrence, 2025. 41 years in the making. This is special. Like, there's never going to be a show like Cobra Kai. There will never be a spinoff of a movie that gives you that much feels like Cobra Kai.
It is, again, if you have not watched it, I encourage everyone to watch it. It's so good. It is so good. There was murder. There's top baby faces, top heels, happy endings, sad endings for certain people as well. You know who the best character was, and we needed way more? She needs her own spinoff. They'll never do it, but she needs it. Daniel's sister.
Isn't it his cousin? Or is it his sister?
Is it not? I'm pretty sure it's his sister. It's his real life like sister.
Yeah, I know it's his.
something
I know it's his
as
real
well.
life sister, but I think she's his cousin in the show.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Danny ever had
Oh,
a sister. Danny
okay.
LaRusso never had a sister.
All right. Well, fine. All right. His cousin then in the show, which is his real life sister. She rules.
She always does. She always does. She
I feel like
always knows
SP3's internet's
exactly.
bad today and not mine.
Oh, maybe.
Okay, try that again.
I said she always knows what's up. Like her psychology major always knows what's up with either Danny or the son Anthony and everything. I love her. I love when she's a part of the show, and I love her little relationship with Amanda LaRusso. And Amanda LaRusso becoming the super karate mom was an awesome full circle moment as well.
Yeah. Oh, you know who we got a cameo from that we didn't mention? Jesse Spano.
Yes. I was like, I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. Oh my God, Jesse Spano's here, and she's trying to smoosh with Chosen, but I knew that Chosen had to get with Kim Jong.
Yeah. She murders her grandfather, or I guess father, but person that's been alive for like 300 years. I love the flashbacks, and he already is like super old and everything. And then it's still him, and he's still this old. That was my favorite part when the new episodes came out earlier this year, I guess last year, technically. Is like they're showing him in these flashback scenes, and I'm like, this dude's gonna still be alive, and he's somehow gonna be like the same age because he's already 100 years old. So good. And my wife is messaging me like, you didn't tell me that Jesse Spano was in this. No, Jesse Spano did not murder anybody. She's only in one episode. She plays basically a holistic person with tarot card readings and everything. But it was a nice little cameo for us.
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
Kids.
You know the part that popped me is when they were going over their trash reality.
Yes.
Trash reality. And they say 90 Day Fiance. I'm like, yeah, bring it in. 90 days.
They're like, too hot to handle. We love Too Hot to Handle. I was like, yeah, you gotta get a Netflix show. You gotta reference a Netflix show here.
I was like, let's go. They are after our hearts here with this seed of them going back and forth with trash reality shows. They know their audience.
Yes, yeah, it was good stuff. If you've not seen Cobra Kai, you should watch it from the very beginning because it is great. It's an easy watch too. Like you can just power through those episodes, and you'll be hooked. You'll be hooked on it. Just realize the absurdity of it, appreciate the absurdity of it, and appreciate just the great stories. And no matter how absurd they are, just appreciate them, and you'll enjoy it. If you like pro wrestling, I can't imagine you disliking this show. It's so much better than pro wrestling. It is pro wrestling, except way better.
Indeed. Let me I'm gonna re-up my Wi-Fi just in case it is messed up, and then I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. Usually I'm the one with internet issues here, so it's nice that somebody else besides me
You're welcome.
has the internet issues on this show. All right. So SP3 is gonna pop off here. I don't know what to talk about otherwise. King Potato says, I started Severance last night. Interesting show so far. I've heard very good things about Severance. Very good things, but I've not actually watched it. We'll see. I don't know if I'll end up getting to it. Hey, James, are you watching the new 90 Day Fiance season 11? I saw it's on Netflix. I've not watched it though, but I did.
Wait, 90 Day Fiance is on Netflix?
Maybe it was Max. Maybe I was on Max. I was on one of my streaming services.
Yeah. It's available. It's available on Max. Me and my to answer Eddie James, me and my missus watched episode 1 of season 11. The thruple they have on the show might be the reason to watch this season of 90 Day Fiance season 11. A freaking married couple is getting with this girl. I think she's from like I think like Latin America or something like that, and they're gonna actually get divorced so the man can get married to her for the 90-day visa. It's so ridiculous. It's like you guys sound like complete dumbasses. So yeah, I expect this season to be a little bit interesting. It's gonna be hard to top though the before 90 days that I told you and share about when we were doing FMC that had Lauren Gonorrhea Boy with his love of lady boys. Then you had Niles, who has autism, who is with his girlfriend that I think is from like Nigeria or something like that. Then you had Adnan, who is a strict Muslim, who is with this like rich Kardashian type lady who's older than him, but he's trying to convert her and tell her what to wear and stuff. Then you had Brian, who was in a wheelchair, but he is like the scummiest person that they've ever had on 90 Day Fiance, and basically tried to pressure his girlfriend into like having sex and stuff like that, and then got with other girls right after that, and just has he's like 51 years old and has a love for women under the age of 35. Like, yeah, just creep stuff. Then the most normal person was Vanya, who got with one guy, went all the way across the country to see that one guy, the one guy that she was talking to for like 8 months. And then when she meets him, he's like, oh, it's not a romantic thing. So he made her go all the way over there to tell her, oh, it's not romantic thing. So they broke it off. Then she gets with another guy. They get all good. He comes to Orlando to see her. They smash, and then he breaks up with her when he goes back to his country. Like, man, everybody had an angle. Everybody had an arc. It's going to be very hard for season 11 of 90 Days to top that.
Shucky Ducky, you don't have to watch the movies to watch Cobra Kai. It helps your frame of reference, but they do so many flashbacks and explaining who kind of everyone is and why they are there and what their motivations and stories are that you don't actually need to watch the movies. Because like I've seen the movies, but they were a very long time ago, and I don't remember most of the movies. But there's enough flashbacks there to where it's like, oh, okay, that's who that person is. That's why he is here now. So you don't actually have to watch the movies to watch Cobra Kai. You can just enjoy Cobra Kai.
And honestly, if you get into Cobra Kai, it's going to make you want to watch the movies. That's what it did for me. Like, I remember between the break of, I think it was season 3 to season 4, that because season 3 was the first one that I watched when it like premiered, because I had like discovered the show late. My missus was actually the one that was like, "Oh, you like Karate Kid? Like, when you watch this? It's called Cobra Kai." I was like, "Oh, okay, let me check it out." And I just got into it. She stopped watching. I just kept binge watching, and I've got through the first 2 seasons. So I remember season 3 was the first one when I knew the premiere date, and I watched it. It took me like 2 days to binge the whole season. So it was between season 3 and season 4 that I watched Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3 when it was on Peacock. And like, yeah, it definitely helped me. And that's why I feel like season 4, if I had to rank the seasons, season 4 is my favorite, because I had just watched all 3 Karate Kid movies, and then Terry Silva comes in and he's like the best heel in the whole show. So, and then that's the second All Valley season, and that All Valley finale is still one of the best that they've ever produced. So like season 4 is probably my favorite season. It's between season 4 and season 1 for me.
King Potato asking if I started Love is Blind. Yes. Love is Blind. Yeah. Yes. We reviewed the first couple episodes of Love is Blind on Reality Rumble with myself, SP3, and our pal Share Delaware. That's up on Fightful Overbooked. Now, we will talk more about Love is Blind this weekend, because now I think we've all watched the remaining episodes.
Yeah, we did.
But we have other Love is Blind. We have other Love is Blind talk about, SP3. Because we finally got the crossover between WWE and Netflix that we had been waiting for. Brittany and Laura from Love is Blind season 6 were at WWE Raw last night. And maybe they found love in that WWE Raw audience, because they certainly didn't find it on Love is Blind. They did not find it. They had to deal with a man who was on his phone way too much, and another man who gives my namesake, spelled differently. Jeremy with the bad spelling, a bad name.
And
But
cheated
maybe they found
cheated
love.
on her. He cheated on her.
One of the
But
worst people out there.
did you see how Laura was looking at Seth Rollins when he came to her side of the barricade and he was doing the whole, oh, I know he's a married man, but she looked like she looked more at him. She looked more at him gazing than she ever did on the Jeremy with the bad spelling.
Do you think they knew who these wrestlers were? Do you
Not a clue?
Do you think they actually watch wrestling and everything? Because we know how this celebrity stuff can work in WWE. Sometimes they're just there because, hey, you're in town. It's a Netflix thing. You want free tickets to Raw for the night. Sometimes one of them is a fan. Daniel Fishel, when at the LA premiere, she was a big fan. Will Friedle hadn't watched a single second of wrestling. He didn't know what he was getting himself into. By the end of the night, he said he had a good time with everything. Do you think Brittany is a fan and she just dragged Laura to this event? It'll be fun, or vice versa? Or do you think it was both of them? Yeah, we don't know who these people are. Netflix just said, here's some tickets. You guys want to do something on a Monday night?
If I had to guess which one of them would be more of a wrestling fan, I think I would guess Laura. Laura has that kind of aggressive type of personality that might get fired up watching pro wrestling like that. I feel like Brittany is a little too reserved. I don't know. It could go either way, but I would go with Laura over Brittany.
Should we Instagram stalk and see what they do? So apparently they go to a few events, because now I'm on Brittany's Instagram. She's at a Hornets event here, and it just says, oh, thanks for having us, Hornets. Remember we were laughing during that season? We were like, their bachelor party was at a Hornets game. What the hell? This is the worst bachelor party of all time.
Hornets versus Wizards at that. They didn't even say Hornets versus a good team. They said Hornets versus Wizards.
We're just going to give you the worst game ever. Can confirm Brittany on her Instagram posted nothing about Raw last night. Let's check her stories. Now this is she's getting her makeup done. Oh, okay, she did. Oh, all right. So she did post from Raw, and she posted a picture in front of the WrestleMania sign and said, "My papa is so proud." So it does seem like Brittany might have. Yeah, Brittany might have grown up a wrestling fan and watched it with her family, and she's got videos on her Instagram of herself and Laura, and it seems like she's having a good time out there. So, all right, maybe Brittany did grow up a wrestling fan. Let's see if Laura posted anything.
All right,
deep dive analysis. Deep dive analysis on the Love is Blind ladies attending WWE Raw last night. You're not gonna find this anywhere else.
And then we're gonna break down who we think from this season would show up at a WWE Raw event.
It doesn't matter. You couldn't tell those dudes apart. It does not matter. You can't tell any of them
D Buck. I would say D Buck would be the one. D Buck would be the one that
D Buckets.
D Buckets. Yeah. D Buckets would be the one who would go to a wrestling event. And Brittany. And the one he was talking to before they decided to go separate ways. So I can see that.
All right. Laura's got some stuff on her Instagram stories, but it's mainly reposting of Brittany's. They all seem to like Pat McAfee.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, she has a picture of Ludwig Kaiser with a Stretch Armstrong photo next to him. And it just says, this guy is Stretch Armstrong, and I won't be explaining further.
I love when non-wrestling fans go to wrestling events and what they think of. What's the first thought they think of when they see certain wrestlers? Great stuff.
All right, let's. Do you think we can go get Brittany on this show?
I think we could.
I think we can. Yeah. I think we could. Right, let's message Brittany.
Yeah, let's message Brittany.
What
and
else
be
is she
like,
doing with her life?
we got one of two shows you could be on. You could be on In the Weeds to talk about your experience on Monday Night Raw, or you could be on Reality Rumble to talk about this season of Love Is Blind.
I mean, we could do a 2-for-1 podcast here. All right, let's send Brittany a message. I don't like the problem with Instagram is like I have no traction on Instagram. And so I don't know Twitter. If people like don't know, like, yeah, Twitter, like I'm at least verified and I post. I mean, look, it's paid verification. It's not like it's real verification, but I at least have that. And I have like a footprint on Twitter. Yeah. I have like no footprint on Instagram. So it's really shot in the dark stuff on Instagram. But here we go. You know, can't hurt. Let's try this. All right. Hello, Brittany. I should probably spell her name right. My name is Lambert. I write/work for a wrestling site called.
Part-time finisher's like blocked as soon as she sees this blocked.
Probably. I mean, the thing is like my profile picture is like 5 years old as well. Like I got short hair and everything in this profile picture. It's pre-pandemic, so it's more than 5 years old. So yeah, it's a very old profile picture. I think the last time I've posted was never. So like I just have no traction on Instagram. That's why
I rarely post on Instagram. I rarely do. Not my cup of tea.
Do a morning show, and we're big fans of Love Is Blind. Wondering if you would be interested in being a guest and talking about WWE Raw and other ventures. I don't know what the hell she's actually doing with her life.
Other ventures. She's so busy.
Yeah. She's busy attending Hornets games and Raw. I mean,
anything Charlotte based. Would you ever think about going to an AEW event? That would be my first question.
Do you go to the NASCAR events in Charlotte?
Do you go to the Panthers games in Charlotte? Everything
sounds Charlotte. Unfortunate. I mean, you can get in cheap there at least.
At least with the Hornets, she gets to see LaMelo Ball. Like,
I mean, Bryce Young is playing well. Yeah. Panthers turned it around at the end of the year. All right, I've sent the message to Brittany. We shall see if something comes of this. No. Maybe we'll have Love Is Blind on.
I said, are you ready to? Are you now ready to talk about the other unimportant things that happen on Raw?
Well, King Potato saying, "I swear, all the guys this season look the same." Yeah, that's the joke we've been making. Is so you put in our group chat with Share Delaware of like the guys and their names, and I'm like, you could switch all of these names around. And I would be like, yeah, that's definitely that person. I don't know if that's legitimately their names with these pictures. I truly don't. Did you see at the end of this season, the one black dude named Mo? Like, who the fuck is Mo? Where did he come from?
I was like, where do all these people come from that they never show until like the end? Like, I was like, there's another black guy here? I was like, I thought D Buckets was the only one.
Apparently there's a dude named Mo. They never showed this guy. They may have showed him like episode 1 in the pods, and that was it. Like, what? Who is Mo? What is he doing? Can we get more of him? I don't even know if he's made a connection. I don't really care. I just need to break up this white monotony is all. That's all I'm trying to do.
It is a white monotony. It's a monopoly of white men.
It's just boring ass white people. I'm sorry.
You got the nerd. You got the nerd who stalks his prey. You got you got a guy who is stringing along two women and gets dumped by both. You got a guy who gets the girl from the guy who was stringing along both girls, and he blows it by relating with the guy that blew it with both girls. It's just like all of y'all are trash.
Massive fumbles.
Oh my god, this was like the biggest fumbles and crash outs I've ever seen on Love Is Blind.
Massive.
Like you're thinking this is all a wrap. The love triangle's done. She's picked him over him, and then he freaking fumbles it. It was like, yo, I was rooting for you, Alex. I was rooting for you.
Someone on Twitter, it's a Dragonfly Jones, who I follow him for basketball takes, but he's like, I watch Love Is Blind for black people and messy people, and this season ain't nothing but a bunch of generic white dudes.
It is so true. It is so true. Like I usually do watch it for the messy people. The messy people make the season, and I'm always rooting for my black brothers and sisters on this show. I was very much into the whole Ramses and Homegirl last year, even though Ramses he botched that. He botched that last year. And then even though he was a creep who had multiple kids outside of the relationship, I was rooting for light skin homeboy Tyler and Ashley. I was rooting for them. I was happy when they got married at the end of the season. But how do you go from one of the messiest seasons of Love Is Blind ever? Well, you back to back two of the messiest seasons ever, because the season with Laura and Brittany was messy as hell. You had AD and Clay and all that drama there. You had the Brittany with the cell phone and stuff, Laura with Jeremy with the bad spelling and all that he did with Sarah Ann and all that. That was drama filled. And you had identifiable characters like Jessica, who didn't even make it to the second portion of the show. She was just a pod star. She was a pod star, Jessica. And then last year we had Leo, who was a pod star. There was no stars in the pod this year.
They were all the same, and there were so many pod episodes. Like, that was one thing the wife and I were talking about. Like, we had 6 episodes of just the pods. Like, usually the first batch of episodes were at least in Mexico or wherever they're holding their vacation. We've at least got people mixing together. I don't know if there's too much past this, because if we got 6 pods episodes, like, you must have had no content after this either. If all of your content, you felt you had to do 6 pod episodes, because there was not enough. There was so many just mundane conversations. Like, I feel like we've heard this conversation before. I feel like y'all have already had this conversation. What are we doing? Yeah, King Potato saying it took all these guys so long to propose. I don't know if it's like typically. So this is a question I was in a conversation I was having with the wife, is like, when are these proposals actually happening versus when are they being edited to air? Because Joey's the first person to propose, and he proposed like episode 4, maybe. But like, he's still
like
in
3. It had to be like 3, episode 3 or so, because I think they meet each other in 4. I think they meet each other in 4,
maybe.
Because we didn't see them for like multiple episodes. We didn't see them from like we had none of them in episode 5 or 6.
Right, because they'd already proposed at that point. So usually, like, after they do the proposing and the meeting, we don't see them any further. But they're still in like the quarters, because we see Joey at the end like console random white guy A after one of his talks and everything. So I always wonder of like when these things are edited and versus when they actually propose and meet, because some episodes or some seasons we've seen people propose like end of episode 1 going into episode 2 and everything. Like, they're proposing really early, and you think in your mind,
the
like,
UK
that's day
one
3.
Remember the UK one, Jeremy, where
I'll take
the UK one was the one where the chick from Ireland, he asks her to get married episode 1, at the end of episode 1, and we don't find out the answer to episode 2.
Yeah. So I always wonder, like, okay, was that actually done in, again, let's say there's 10, they spend 10 days in the pods. Like, was that proposal actually done on day 3 in the pods, or do they like legitimately have to hold off until like a day 9 and then everybody meets day 10 and they just decide, okay, well, we know they're good. A lot of their conversations are the same. We don't need to air 5 days worth of all their conversations because they've already made their decision. They just can't propose yet until the proposal date, which is at like that. I wonder how that works with this show.
Yeah, that's interesting how it plays out. And I don't think that each episode is one day. I think it's multiple days in one episode. Yeah. I think like the first episode, it might be the first like 2 to 3 days, second episode, and then they kind of deviate out because I think it's what they have said before, I think is like 10 days of pods. So they usually are able to do all the pod episodes within like 4 episodes, usually with Love is Blind. They get it all done in 4 episodes. But I definitely agree with what you said at the earlier, is that it makes me dread for what's next, for the next batch of episodes. Because if they dragged out the pod thing for 2 more episodes, yeah, it makes me feel like, do you have anything that we're gonna see in the like how long is the trip to Mexico gonna be? How long is the whole process of them living together gonna be? Are you gonna stretch everything out, or is everything shorter? Like how is it gonna divvy up now that you've stretched the pod format that long?
They've only got like 4 couples and 2 of them are the same. I'm not convinced that they're not the exact same people anyway. But they've only got a handful of couples. I was telling the wife, I was like, you got to throw in more mixers at this point. Like, you as the producers, you got to know, okay, we got limited couples here that we're taking to Mexico. So after you do all of that, once you all get back to Minnesota, you got to throw these people back into the mixing scene here. And you got to have the love square that have resulted in no couples. You got to have multiple like mixing sessions with them and try to create something out of this. Because right now, you don't got a whole lot. You better hope something blows up with these people, because you might only have 3 couples, because we saw at the end, one of them was falling apart as well. So
because he's a nerd who stalked his prey.
I don't know. We'll talk about this on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll talk about it on Reality Rumble. But that was the craziest one.
I got thoughts on whether or not she's being truthful, because I'm not 100% convinced she is. I'm mostly convinced it's not 100%. I'm not fully on her side. I think she saw that man and saw he was shorter than her anyway, and was like, I'm not feeling this now that I see him. And she was coming up with something, because it's very, very easy to say, oh, I saw your Instagram. You were in front of a fireplace or in front of a Christmas tree with a drink in your hand. This man talked about Christmas so much, you could have easily deduced on his Instagram he had a photo in front of a Christmas tree with a drink in his hand. Very easily.
Why can't us short kings get love too? Why can't us? I got love. I wanted another short king to get some love too.
The women on this show, when they talk about the men who are short, it's like, oh, I need a tall man. Like, you're wearing 35-inch heels. You can cut those down a little bit and he'll be taller than you. It'll be okay. But they
were the same height. Heels. They were the same height with her heels on. It was weird. That was weird. Yeah, that was weird.
That was the same thing last season. It's like, oh, I need a tall man. It's like, well, you're wearing these very tall heels. If you just wear normal shoes, he'll be taller than you. You'll be okay. You don't have to go in heels everywhere. It'll be fine. They spent money on music this year, though. They played like Miley Cyrus Wrecking Ball. I was like, well, they're playing some real ass music on this show, because they didn't send so many couples to Mexico. It's like, damn, we saved on the budget, only sending two couples to Mexico. Well, Miley, how much money you want? Let's play Wrecking Ball.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
they had a Billie Eilish song. They had a bunch of songs, like recognizable songs, not just that generic shit. It's like, oh, okay, this is what you're playing, I guess. All right. I guess we're like an hour into the show. Let's talk about wrestling.
And Joel said he was only going to get 20 minutes of non-wrestling show.
I told
We almost did an
Joel.
hour.
So Joel does the thumbnail. He still does the thumbnail even on the shows that he's not on. So I told Joel, we have our group chat, and I'm like, this is the thumbnail. And it was the Love is Blind picture, Laura and Brittany. I was like, because this is all we're going to talk about. I'm going to let you know that right now. This is what we're talking about. And we're talking about Cobra Kai. We're not talking about wrestling. Not if we can help it. Got an hour. Got an hour of no wrestling. That's the best version of this show, where wrestling is actually limited. Who could possibly care about professional wrestling? We'll get to Raw in a second. Let's get this news, because Joel and I did not talk about this yesterday. So we're going to talk about this today in SP3. Fightful Select reported on February 14th, a major free agent appears to be AEW bound. Josh Alexander's deal with TNA Wrestling has expired as of February 14th. PW Insider has reported that Alexander is being repped by wrestling super agent Barry Bloom, of which Fightful can confirm, along with another member of Bloom's team. As late in the day of February 14th, it looked like Alexander's landing point was set. Sean Ross Sapp has learned that those within AEW near Alexander and in the industry that Alexander... What is Sean's writing here? Let's try this again. Sean Ross Sapp has learned that those within AEW near Alexander and in the industry that Josh Alexander was expected to sign with AEW if he hasn't already. WWE sources had confirmed that he'd at least not signed there. There had been interest in the company using him last year. We've not learned if the deal is officially signed as of yet, but AEW is the expected landing point. What did you make of this deal when you learned that Josh Alexander appears to be AEW bound?
It's an interesting case, because I think that Josh Alexander, unlike a lot of the free agents that are currently on the scene or even on the scene last year, I think that there is a path for him to make it work either direction. You can see him going to WWE, being paired back up with Ethan Page, and becoming the North, and the North becoming like a main roster tag team, probably tearing it up on SmackDown with the likes of the Motor City Machine Guns and the Street Profits and DIY and Los Garza and Pretty Deadly over there. Or you could see Josh Alexander going into NXT and being a single star and helping out that male division when it looks like, the likes of Trick Williams and Ethan Page may be getting called up after Stand and Deliver. You can get someone like Josh Alexander in there who can really be a main event level star to go along with your Obafemis and your Ricky Starks. So both of those, the WWE direction does definitely work, in my opinion. Now, on the AEW end of the spectrum, Josh Alexander is one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, and he's got a level of intensity that is not always seen from a lot of wrestlers out there. You could see a direction where he goes to AEW and gets lost in the shuffle because he's like great wrestler number 470 on the roster, but you can also see him being in the direction of like joining the Don Callis family and going in that direction because of his connection to Scott D'Amore and the Canadian scene. He could join up with the Don Callis family, and Don can introduce him as his new charge, from Kenny Omega to Will Ospreay to the Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher. Now he's got Josh Alexander bringing into play, and I think right now the Don Callis family is the most effective and best heel faction in AEW. So I think that would work. That would work like gangbusters as well. And he's the type of guy that can stand out by just having great matches, unlike what the other morning show says. But I think that Josh is a person that, as far as the fact that he is in this position where he's gonna get a big money contract from either of the top two promotions. I'm just happy to see it, honestly, because I've watched Josh Alexander's story very closely, and I've had the honor and privilege to interview him twice over on True Hill Heat, and he's just like he's one of like top 5 nicest wrestlers I've ever interviewed. Like the second time I interviewed him, he was like, "Yeah, I remember you. You have twins and stuff." Like, no one's ever done that to me. No one's ever said that to me. But like the first time we talked, we actually bonded over being like parents. And I told him, I was like, I'm a dad of, twins. So how hard is it to balance, with your son? You're getting him involved into TNA and stuff like that. And he remembered that conversation the second time I talked to him. So he's a very personable and genuine human being. To know that back in 2018, he breaks his neck. He didn't think that he was ever going to wrestle again. And then 1 year later, he gets that contract to TNA, and he had to, him and Ethan Page as the North established himself as one of the cornerstones of that tag team division in TNA Impact. And he grew and grew and grew to the point that they became the longest reigning TNA tag team champions. Then Ethan Page decides to leave to go to AEW, and then he becomes a single star. And then his rise from there, from the X division to the World Heavyweight Championship to multiple reigns as the World Heavyweight Champion to the longest reigning World Heavyweight Champion. Not a lot of people know, it wasn't until he wins the X Division Championship that he became a full-time wrestler. This guy was still working part-time. He was doing a part-time job and still working in the industry until he wins the X Division Championship and becomes a single star in TNA and then goes full-time into it. So he's only been wrestling like full-time, 100% pro wrestler for like 6 years. And to see how much he's grown and how much his reputation and his legacy in TNA has grown, I'm just very happy for him that he is going to get this big money contract. And I think that if Tony Khan is going to give him a big money contract, then you have to have plans set for him. And I think if they do that, Josh Alexander can be a positive and valuable asset to All Elite Wrestling.
That would be mentioning maybe new Team Canada and AEW with Scott D'Amore leading Josh, Speedball, even Kenny and Ospreay. They can do comedy playing off of Ospreay's hate of Canada as well. I don't know if Scott D'Amore wants to be involved there. I think he seems generally satisfied running Maple Leaf Pro and doing those events and trying to grow Maple Leaf Pro. Like, it's a possibility, but I don't know what Scott wants to do. If Josh Alexander's landing in AEW, I hope they have a plan for him, because I don't want him coming in and then just being cool match guy and then nothing further is out of that. Obviously, I think Alexander's probably satisfied with whatever deal he is getting. He's earned the right in free agency to pick his spot, and whatever he feels comfortable doing. I'm always happy when these wrestlers get their money and land and go where they want to go and get the opportunities they want to get. Here's what I will say about wrestlers kind of switching brands and things like that, because I saw a little bit of this over the weekend when Alexander was reportedly signing with AEW. People are like, oh, AEW is basically trading, not real trades, but trading Ricky, Miro, Malachi for Speedball, Alexander, and there's the rumor about Jeff Cobb. So, yes, it's like, oh, they're trading these guys. No, they're not. Ricky, Malachi, Miro, these guys weren't on TV.
No.
Malachi has been the most featured over the past year, and he was seldomly featured. Ricky hadn't been on TV in about a year. Miro hasn't been on TV in over a year. These guys were not featured on television. So Alexander, Speedball, Cobb coming in, they ain't taking spots from Ricky, Malachi, and Miro because they didn't have spots to give up. They were off television. So what spots are they taking from them? Again, they're taking spots from others. They're going to get opportunities that others weren't getting, which is fine. They got opportunities. They got television time. There are people that I think they could use a little bit less. Alexander and Speedball could certainly be used more on those shows. But I think people get very confused of, oh, look at this trade up that they made. It's the same. It goes the other way, but as well. You know, when Andrade and Cody and all these guys and Jade came into WWE, it's like, oh, well, they've lost these people. They released these people, or these people left, so they're taking those spots. No, the people that they released, the people that left, they weren't featured all that much on television. So the people that are coming in, they're not taking those spots. They're taking the spots of people who are featured, because if they're going to be featured, then you got to take out people who are featured. Now, if Alexander and Speedball and Cobb are just going to sit off of television and get paid to not be on TV, then yeah, they're taking spots from Miro, Malachi, and Ricky. But I don't think that is the plan for Alexander and Speedball. I think they're actually going to be featured on television. So they're not taking those spots. They're taking the spots of people who are currently on TV, who might see less TV time because of that, which is fine. I think you need to rotate some people in and out every now and again. Some people need to be on television for a period of time, so they come back and they feel refreshed. So having fresh faces is a good thing. But I don't want people to get confused of, look at this big upgrade AEW made, because these people are coming in and these people are coming out. The people coming out weren't on TV. The people coming in will be on TV. The people who are on TV do not replace people who weren't on TV. They replace people who were also on TV.
No, I get where you're coming from. I think that I took it when people were like, "Oh, you're basically trading out Ricky Starks and Miro and Malachi Black for those 3 free agents." I took it more as you're clearing off the books, because regardless of if they're on TV or not, you were paying Miro 6 figures. You were probably paying Malachi Black 6 figures, and you were paying Ricky Starks probably close to 6 figures. So getting that money off to sign your Josh Alexander's, Speedball Mike Bailey's, and your and Jeff Cobb, possibly, potentially, that is kind of better uses of your money. But I agree with you in that it's going to take probably spots from people that are regularly used on television. And I have outside of Big Bill, I mean, the Learning Tree, we can cut them off and we can just put them more on Ring of Honor, which it kind of works more. I watched Global Wars, the opener with the Outrunners and Bandito versus Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and Brian Keefe. And Jericho feels like a bigger star when he's wrestling on a Ring of Honor show. And I did find it interesting that they called the event AEW ROH Global Wars. I think that's the first time that they've ever used that term. They didn't call it just ROH Global Wars. They called it AEW ROH Global Wars, which I think is going to be the direction moving forward for the brand. But put Jericho on there. Don't put Jericho on AEW television. And I know that I think the thinking is, oh, Jericho has to be on there to get people to watch Ring of Honor television. No. Just take Jericho off of AEW television and only put him on ROH, and the people that want to see Jericho will watch ROH, which I don't think it's many people, but the people that will go there to watch him. Don't put him on AEW television. And I think that you would have a better flow of the talent. But I do agree with, Henry, Power Driver Finisher in the chat. They have been doing a better job of rotating talent in and out and featuring talent consistently. Someone like a Big Bill and Powerhouse Hobbs, their feud has been consistently pushed on both AEW Dynamite and Collision. And there's a lot of great things, great rivalries and stories being told right now in AEW that can be helped by, guys like Josh Alexander's, guys like Speedball Mike Bailey coming into this company and further kind of bringing back the old feeling for AEW. AEW is on an up right now, regardless of, I know you guys talked about it in length, all the lonely wrestling fans out there talking about ring size and, man. Anyway, but yes, I think that they're on a positive route right now. They've had 4 straight very good to great shows, and adding someone like a Josh Alexander is only going to bring back the better perception. They have been losing in the perception war for the better part of 3 years. Since Brawl Out, AEW has been losing the perception war, and they've had their highs of perception, and usually it comes around this time of the year. So adding talent only helps that and can further that. But it's really going to be up to AEW, like you said, having a plan for Josh Alexander and for Josh Alexander to figure out a character direction. Because I think that's been the real key with everyone that's been a success coming in or big free agent signings to AEW. Yeah, I take case in point Ricochet. Ricochet came in and he was just trying to have good to great matches and he wasn't getting over. It wasn't until he figured out, oh, I got to come up with a whole different character direction. And that's how I can get over. And we're seeing him get over as this heel character, as I like to call him, the Black Rick Murray from Degrassi. Then you have someone like a Will Ospreay, and Will Ospreay just took the character that he developed in New Japan Pro Wrestling of the everyday bruv and brought it to AEW, and he's become probably one of their best free agent signings ever. And Mercedes Moné, it took them realizing, hey, Mercedes wants to be a babyface and be cheered. No, but Mercedes is much better as a heel. And now we've seen Mercedes kind of get back into a flow of things where she's not kind of a detriment to AEW's television. So it's going to be up to Alexander to find some character direction. And I have liked his heel character work towards the end of his TNA wrestling run. And if he can bring some of that to AEW, maybe align with Don Callis, like I said, I think him aligning with a faction, aligning with someone that has stories and always going to have stories within the AEW lexicon, I think that's his best way to kind of kick off a run in AEW.
I wouldn't read too much into the AEW ROH Global Wars branding, because Global Wars has always been like a joint show. It's always been ROH New Japan, ROH CMLL.
But they have had like ROH. They have a ROH Global Wars before. Even when they have done it without New Japan or CMLL in the past.
It felt like they just used the AEW name as a nod to that, and because there was AEW talent on there. That, at least that was my read. Like, look, Tony has talked about calling it AEW ROH, so it's not a completely out of left field idea that they do call it AEW ROH, and maybe this was the first kind of step towards that. I viewed it more of, oh, they want to, it's Global Wars, they want to tack on another promotion name. You're not really going to say New Japan, even though Robbie Eagles was there. You're not really going to say Rev Pro, even though Alex Windsor was there. Like, you pulled for a little bit from everywhere. Let's just call it AEW because Jericho's on AEW TV, Outrunners, Bandito, Powerhouse Hobbs. Like, we have a learning tree just all together. Lee Moriarty's still on AEW TV. Like, we're using enough AEW people, even though they're ROH champion.
Yeah, I didn't. That's why.
So we'll just.
That's the main. Name. That's the main reason why I didn't take it as them. Oh, they're using AEW talent and Global Wars is a joint promotion. I didn't take it as that. No, because all the people that they use from AEW are Ring of Honor champions and have been featured on Ring of Honor television. So that's why I took it as maybe it is them testing the waters for possibly changing the name for at least their bigger events. So their pay-per-view events, I think that they would sell better if it was AEW ROH instead of just ROH.
I think for pay-per-views they can do it, especially since they're all in Honor Club now anyway. Like, you may as well try the branding out, at least for the pay-per-views. I don't think if you name it AEW ROH Honor Club, I don't think that adds a single like extra viewer, honestly. Not if the shows are the same.
No,
I don't.
No, that's why I said I think it will be more effective for ticket sales than subscriptions. No, I don't think it's going to be any effect on Honor Club.
Yeah, because all the matches are taped at AEW events anyway. So you're not selling tickets to anything ROH related outside of the pay-per-view events. We'll see if Tony actually does go ahead with the AEW ROH name. And if it's going to happen after WrestleMania weekend would probably be the time for it to happen, because right now they're not running anything WrestleMania weekend. And I also don't think Tony's made it pretty clear that until Righteous Reg bullied him into, getting him to run WrestleMania weekend, like, I don't think Tony wanted to run anything WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
And then Reg was like, no, you have to run ROH WrestleMania weekend. This has been a staple. And Tony rethought his process, but I definitely don't think he wants to run an AEW show like an AEW branded show WrestleMania weekend. So even calling it AEW ROH would probably be too much for him. So I think if it's going to happen, maybe after WrestleMania weekend.
I think the best direction for the Ring of Honor pay-per-views, or AEW Ring of Honor pay-per-views, would be the NXT template. Not the NXT template of now, but the NXT template of the 2010s, and have it in association with your mainline pay-per-views. Like they're going to be in Philly for AEW Dynasty. I think that weekend should be Supercard of Honor. You could run the show on a Friday like you usually do, but I would prefer a Sunday or a Saturday, whatever, depending on whenever Dynasty is scheduled on. I think it's April 6th or whatever. I don't know what date that is right now, but I think that is a Sunday. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is a Sunday. That's a Sunday. That's a Sunday show. Yeah, because I know WrestleMania Night 2 is April 20th. So yeah, that's a Sunday. That's a Sunday night event. Saturday night, do AEW ROH Supercard of Honor right there. Like, do it a part of your weekend. Make big pay-per-view weekends for your companies instead of piggybacking on anybody else or trying to run it separately, because it always just doesn't. It feels kind of off, even with Final Battle being like 2 weeks or a week before World's End and stuff like that. It just doesn't make sense. Just do a whole pay-per-view weekend with Ring of Honor and AEW.
I actually love that idea, and I think that would work. I would hate it once the weekend comes. I'm like, oh great, I got to cover a show on Saturday and Sunday. This is unfortunate, especially if they're going to do back-to-back press conferences. Ooh, that's the only thing I'm asking. That's the only thing I'm asking. If you're doing these back-to-back shows, cut the ROH press conference.
Yeah, you don't need ROH.
You want to do the AEW one? Fine. I don't need the ROH press conference. There ain't that much happening in ROH to where I need to sit through these press conferences. So I will concede this idea. I will stamp of approval this idea. I'll give this idea a thumbs up. I'll notarize it. Only if you cut the ROH press conference. You do that ROH press conference, and I will complain loudly online. And I will refuse to cover it. I will boycott it. I'll boycott both of these shows.
We gotta make a deal.
Way. How am I supposed to shake your hand? You're off screen. What is this?
My hand is reaching out to you. It's off screen.
It's reaching out the other way, SP3.
No, I'm going in the direction of you, actually. But
no, you're not. Everyone on screen can see this. SP3 is not going in my direction, right?
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Am I not?
No.
This is your direction. Okay, then.
You need to go this way. This is the.
If I go this way,
now we're connecting, though. See
how? From my end, it literally looks like I'm going in the opposite direction from you. I'm not going in the direction you're at.
But on screen, SP, you got to go screen end, not your actual end. See, SP3 or all the chat agrees. Do I need to screenshot and put this? Look at the screen, SP3.
I am looking at the screen. It looks like I'm going in the opposite direction.
You're going in the direction of me, though. Yeah, is your camera flipped?
Maybe, because it looks like you're going we're pointing. It's like we're ushers, like we're pointing in the direction, this way. Park your cars this way.
I feel like your camera's flipped or something.
Maybe, I don't know.
You were going this way. You were going opposite of me. You were going.
I literally.
You were reaching towards the chat. You're reaching towards the chat with that. I do think your camera's flipped because you're going across your body, which for me is towards you. But when you go across your body, it's the opposite. It's going towards the chat.
That's weird.
Let's just both reach out towards the camera. How about that? What if we
there
both
we go.
there? There we go. All right.
We made a deal. We did it in the honorable way. We shook hands on it.
WWE Raw happened last night. Sami Zayn opened the show and he said, Kevin, we are destined to fight forever. And you tried to end my career. So if you want to fight, I will give you a fight. And then Adam Pearce came out and was like, we can't clear you, Sami. There's too much risk. What if Kevin wraps a chair around your neck and ends your career? What if Kevin decides to paralyze you? What if Kevin kills you, which we need more of in wrestling? And Sami said, well, what if I do all that shit to him? And Adam Pearce is like, all right, fine. This is not official. It's unsanctioned. So we're going to get a fight at Elimination Chamber between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Because I guess we got to do Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross at WrestleMania.
I predicted it, folks. I said it. I was like, yeah, it's Kevin has I was basically told by by fans and other people. I was like, why aren't they just letting Kevin Owens get over and get a pinfall victory over Randy Orton? Because obviously the direction at that time was Kevin Owens was going to feud with Cody Rhodes after the short program with Randy Orton. So when they did that whole brawl at Crown Jewel and then the next SmackDown, they write off Orton, I'm like, oh, okay. They're setting up the Mania match. It's going to be Orton. Orton, when he's ready to return, he's going to face KO. So then when all the stuff started with Sami Zayn and I saw everybody getting excited, like, oh, they're going to do Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. I was like, they already faced that WrestleMania. And then when he does the package power driver a couple of weeks ago on Raw after the Punk match, I was like, oh, they're doing Toronto. That's the one thing they haven't done. They've pretty much faced each other in every place they could possibly do. But I don't even remember from their Ring of Honor days outside of Death Before Dishonor 2010, which I think was also in Toronto. So this would be 15 years in the making. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, they've never faced each other in Canada in WWE. So Toronto, I thought once the package power driver happened, I was like, that's probably the match for a Chamber, because you have to have another headline matchup outside of the two Chamber matches, and this one is it. So it fit the build very well. But at that time, when I figured that, oh, it's going to be Orton at WrestleMania against KO, I thought they were going to give Sami Seth Rollins, because that had been something they were building since like November. They were building that since before Survivor Series. And then we got all the different segments between them. You got the Seth Rollins pep talk before the Punk match a couple of weeks ago. But like, they have totally changed directions for WrestleMania. And that's why I put the headline that I did. I'm just like, yo, like, I'm still waiting on the road to WrestleMania to really begin, because it really hasn't felt like it begun just yet.
I question them doing this match in Toronto and not doing it at WrestleMania. I thought that we were going to get some type of fight between them in Toronto, which is fine. And they're still doing that. But then that it would lead to something bigger at WrestleMania. Maybe Orton gets involved. Maybe it becomes a tag team match. I don't know who Kevin's partner would be at that point. But I thought that's where it might lead. Said they're going to do an unsanctioned match. I think Orton's probably coming back here, and he is helping Sami win to set up Randy and Kevin at WrestleMania, and then Sami and Karrion Kross.
I think I see it as KO winning, and then like they set up in the promo, him getting the win with the package power driver and then trying to package power drive him again and again and again post match, and then Orton returns. But because I think they should have their match, and we should have a winner to that matchup. It shouldn't be Orton interferes to help Sami win or Kross interferes to help KO win. I think they should have a match that we have a winner. KO gets a win with the package power driver, and you could have Kross taunt Sami in the weeks after, being like, "Yeah, I told you, you should have listened to me. Your friends is the reason why you're probably gonna miss WrestleMania," and taunt him enough to challenge him to a WrestleMania matchup. I could see them going in that direction. I see Orton probably coming back in the post match, not the match itself.
I don't want a winner in these unsanctioned matches. I don't want 3 counts. Why? It's unsanctioned. Why do we have a referee at all? It should just end when no one can move. More murder, yes, but it should end when someone can't move and the other person just walks away. And if they keep going too far, then fine, send officials down there. But why are we doing 3 counts and all of this stuff in an unsanctioned match? I don't want any of that.
Hey, that's what they've done every unsanctioned match since Shawn Michaels and Triple H at SummerSlam 2002. It's gonna be that way. I just don't want no flash pin to end an unsanctioned match like that match ended. But yeah, I think that I think that the people that are trying to convince, because I see Michael in the chat, it's like, oh, it'll probably be something where Sami gets jumped and the match never even starts anyway. Why would the match not even start if it's an unsanctioned match? And he gets jumped. If he gets jumped, they just ring the bell because that's an unsanctioned match. You guys have to really stop trying to wiggle your way around the fact that WWE is not doing Sami and KO at WrestleMania. I think that a lot of people just need to kind of settle in and just be like, okay, they announced this unsanctioned match for Toronto at Elimination Chamber. They're probably not doing it. They could do it. They could do a rematch, Hell in a Cell, or whatever stipulation you want to give to it. They could do it, but all signs are pointing to they're not going to do Sami and KO at WrestleMania because both men have matches that they can do in replacement of that at WrestleMania. You could say that you're not into it, or you're not 100% convinced, but let's kind of like, if they're giving us context clues, let's take the context clues and figure out what they're doing. And it looks like they're not doing KO and Sami at Mania.
Yeah, I don't expect them to do it after last night and the fact that they've made this officially unofficial. And when I thought it was just going to be a fight segment and they're just going to do some big pull apart, it's like, oh, that'll set up the Mania match. But it's going to be more than that. It's going to be a match. You know, it's an unsanctioned match, but all that means is it's another no DQ match. There's another term for no DQ match, but it's still a match. They're going to, for some reason, have a referee, even though it's unsanctioned. They shouldn't. Should have just an ambulance there. And then because that ambulance has to be used in a chamber match, the show gets delayed for an hour while they wait for the other ambulance to arrive. Like, that should happen as well. We're going to get this unsanctioned match. It'll be good. It's Kevin Owens, it's Sami Zayn. They're going to put on a show. It's in Toronto as well. Like, they're going to go all out for this match. It's going to be a very good match. It could be Kevin wins and then tries to further injure Sami, and then that's when Orton returns. I could also see Orton returning in the middle of it and helping Sami, because it's not like there's DQs. Like, Randy could just come out and he could be in the back and he could RKO Kevin while they're fighting. I do think whether it's after the match or whether it's during the match, Randy comes back on this show, and that's how you set up Kevin and Randy. And then for Sami, yeah, it looks like Karrion Kross, unless they're going to pivot somewhere else. And they have options to pivot with Sami. Just don't know if they're going to utilize those options.
And it's an elevation for Karrion Kross, and it's really, in my opinion, this is kind of the make or break matchup for Karrion Kross. If this is the direction that they're going with, Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross, if he doesn't have a good performance, doesn't perform well with Sami Zayn of all people, and the crowd is not invested in it, should the WWE continue with the push of Karrion Kross, who's done very well in this backstage role that he's been in as of late? And like, my old issue with Karrion Kross is that I've always thought that he was a good promo and a very intriguing character that can work well in the WWE TV product. It's just when the bell rings, I'm not that interested, unfortunately. And I used to be interested in Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross in TNA Impact, I was interested in the Killer doing the little camel clutch choke out to people and like that. I was into him when he was a part of the Rabbit Tribe over in Lucha Underground, but like, I don't know if it was the Gimp Mass era or whether it was his lackluster NXT title runs, but I'm just not interested in him once the bell rings. But he's in there with the best possible person to be in there with when the bell rings, in Sami Zayn, who's easily a top 5, top 10 in-ring performer in the company.
I can't say I'm not interested in Kross once the bell rings. This man hasn't wrestled for like 2 months. He's got a great gig right now. He shows up for 30 seconds backstage, and that's it. You don't have to wrestle. That's the life. It's the dream. Who cares about this wrestling stuff? Just get in there, do your cinema, and get out. We should all strive to do. I don't love Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn as a WrestleMania match. They've built it. They're doing little things with it. Maybe it'll get there. but man, it feels like Sami should be doing bigger things. Zayn put a ton of stock into Cross for the most part, at least as a singles guy. Like he just got done with the Wyatt stuff, but then they've cooled him down so much after that that it's
because he hasn't wrestled.
Yeah, but that's fine.
That's the only thing. I know that exactly. That's fine that he hasn't wrestled. He's actually gotten more over since not wrestling. Like that's the key to all of this. I think that he could, especially if they start giving him, because he's been mostly used in like these backstage segments and stuff like that. I think as we get closer to Mania, they'll start doing some angles in the ring in front of the fans to kind of build to that. I think they could get there. They could get that there. So I'm more optimistic in regards to Karrion Kross and this being his make or break matchup against Sami Zayn, and I'm more than anything, I'm more optimistic in Sami Zayn making anything he does work at WrestleMania. This man made a jackass match with Johnny Knoxville into Jeremy Lambert's greatest match of all time. This man made the tag team titles main event WrestleMania in 2023 and put on a 5-star classic with Kevin Owens and the Usos. Last year at WrestleMania, he put on another show stealer against Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. And now this year, he gets to elevate someone new in Karrion Kross. So you can look at the 4-year arc and then go back to 2021. He got to get his Kevin Owens match at WrestleMania. So from 2021 all the way to now, they've done different things with Sami Zayn, utilizing the type of performer that he is and showing the versatility in him, that I'm optimistic in what they can do with a Kross and Sami Zayn feud heading into the show and what's going to happen at Mania itself. But like, it's just the reason why I feel like I'm waiting on the road to WrestleMania, and it could be, some people can view it as a good thing, but I'm just not sure about anything that's happening at WrestleMania. And for some people, it's unpredictable and stuff like that. But like, I just don't want to feel like all the WrestleMania matches or a majority of the WrestleMania matches are just 1 month builds. That just like feels so underwhelming for what we got last year at WrestleMania. Last year's WrestleMania is in the conversation for one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. And then to follow that up with a WrestleMania that a lot of the matches are going to have a 1 month build, and a lot of the matches that they already have set up, like a Jay and Gunther, you're like wondering how much more material do you have to get us to eight more weeks of television before we get to WrestleMania? How much more invested can I get in Jey Uso and Gunther at this point? Really, Jey Uso and Gunther, and they're 3 for 3. I will give them that. They're 3 for 3 since Jay won the Rumble in building this matchup. And they had another really good segment last night on Monday Night Raw. But I get the inkling, and it's reminding me of Bayley versus Io Sky from last year. And I know everybody wants to just remember Io Sky and Bayley tore it up and almost stole the show at WrestleMania last year. But I'm not going to be the guy who forgets that they ran out of material for those two ladies like a month in. Like, they did the angle where Damage Control turns on Bayley. They did Dakota's in the middle for 2 to 3 weeks, and then Dakota turned, and that's it. That's all the build they had. The build for that matchup. Do I have to re-up again? Do I have to go out and come back in?
I don't know if it's yours or mine. Usually it's mine, but yours has been bad today. So
I don't know. The chat could let us know. I don't know. You did freeze right there. I don't know if that was my internet or not, but I don't know. Chat can let us know.
Okay.
Oh, he was fine. Okay, cool. All right, you had me worried there, man. I was cooking there too, man. Now I can't even go back into the kitchen. I'm gonna let you finish the plate, man. You just ruined my. I was cooking, man. I was filleting and stuff, and then I'm frozen, so it must be you.
Your internet's been bad today.
It has.
That's why I thought it was on your end. My bad. That's on me. That's my fault.
No, it's all good. It's all good. You know, I had to bust your balls a little bit. But yeah, I just it gives me that inkling that this Jay and Gunther is gonna be reminiscent to Bailey and Io, which I was very let down by the build of that matchup because I had high expectations after how well the Damage Control turning on Bailey segment went, and then they just let us down.
You know who Sami Zayn should actually face at WrestleMania?
Who?
Bam Margera. He's doing DDP yoga. He's getting his life turned around. He's been sober. Bring old Bam out. They could have a great match.
You think it's small. Everybody wants Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Everyone wants Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn stole the show 2 years ago in a tag team matchup. So we're going to give them another one. Sami Zayn and Bam Margera versus Kevin Owens and Bam's dad.
Oh, I thought you were going to go Knoxville for Owens' partner.
No, the culmination of the rivalry, 25 years in the making. Because if you know Bam Margera, when I hear Bam Margera's name, all I think about is him punching his fat dad.
Here's the thing. Like, I think it's got to be flipped. Because Bam's kind of the heel. And that
is true. That is true. He does abuse his dad. Yeah, you're actually right.
Right. Bam's not the baby face with his dad. So I think Bam's got to align with Kevin, and Bam's dad's got to align with Sami. I don't say this as like trying to be mean. I looked this up. Bam's dad's still alive. If you would have told me,
I literally, when I said the suggestion, I was like worried. I was like, oh no, is Bam's dad passed away? Because I did worry about that. So thank you for verifying that.
We gotta get Bam's mom as well. We gotta get Ape in there.
Yeah, Ape in the corner of Sami and Bam's dad. Johnny Knoxville, special guest referee.
Yeah, Knoxville's got to be involved. He's got a blood feud with Sami Zayn, so Knoxville's got to be involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Bam and Ape are still alive, so they could be there. We could do that.
That's what's up.
That's way better use of Sami Zayn.
I like it. I can't knock it. I do like it. Do you think that we did mention them earlier when we were talking about Cross? Do you think that the Wyatt Six get on the Mania card?
Yeah, because Alexa's there, or they're teasing the Alexa stuff. So I think they get their way on the card. Against who? I have no idea.
I was thinking Judgment Day.
They got to get more people in that group.
No, they can do it. They can do a 5-on-5 or something like that. Or they can do.
That many people.
Yes, they do. They got Liv, Raquel.
You can't do Finn. 2 women. You're not going to do 2 women.
Yeah, you can. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss on the Y6 side.
Oh, I wasn't thinking Alexa as part of the group.
Yeah. Like Alexa's the whole reason why I did already book this on my Sports Illustrated predictions for a WrestleMania card. So it's Alexa's the star that's gonna get a Wyatt 6 on the Mania card. So you have to align her with the Wyatt 6 to get them on the Mania card. So Alexa, Nikki, Dexter, will not put Dexter. Joe Gacy, Eric Rowan, and Uncle Howdy versus Finn, Dom, JD, Raquel, and Liv.
Is JD gonna be cleared?
Or Carlito? We can put Carlito in if.
There might they're teasing adding a new member. Finn saying no new members, but then they keep losing all their matches. So at some point they gotta potentially get a new member. That's where I thought over Alexa, because I think Alexa will help them get on the card through some way, but I saw Alexa as doing something different that wasn't the Judgment Day match with the Wyatt 6. Like Alexa, I don't know if I would use her star power to just put her in a multi-person tag team match at WrestleMania. It feels like you could do something a little bit bigger with her.
But what? Like the only way women get on the WrestleMania card is in some type of title match.
I know.
Unless you're going to do Nikki and Alexa in the tag team title match.
Are they teaming together?
Yeah, you could put them together as a team. They're former 2-time WWE Women's Tag Team Champions.
Alexa will probably end up in one of them. I just assume everybody who's like not in a world title match for the women is just going to be in a multi-woman match. Like, here's the Intercontinental title multi-woman match. Here's the U.S. title multi-woman match. And they're just going to do 2 multi-women match. And Alexa is going to be in that.
I could see them doing that for the 2 mid-card titles because, man, where the hell is Becky Lynch? Like, Becky Lynch needs to save Lyra Valkyria.
I think she's after Mania at this point.
Yeah, it is feeling like that, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be pre-Mania right now, unless she is going to come out. The problem is that the setup is kind of weak because let's say Lyra defeats Dakota on Raw next week because Dakota earned her title shot. Let's say Lyra defeats Dakota. Like Becky coming out and just stepping in as the challenger. Honestly, it's Becky, so fine. But it's not like Lyra's actually lacking challengers. Bayley has a win over her. They're setting up the Ivy Nile stuff, even though they just had Ivy Nile lose. Like they're trying to set that up. So Becky coming back is just like, I don't know if that's the play for that. Like it's good for Lyra. It'll get her a good Mania match, but she's gonna overshadow Lyra so much. Like they just haven't done enough with Lyra to make her credible in this spot. And you can't do the she beat her in NXT and Becky has helped her so much. Like they haven't put enough stock into Lyra. That's the real problem, is they haven't put enough stock into Lyra. They just had her lose to Bayley. She won the title. She wasn't on TV for the longest time. And then in her first singles match, she just lost to Bayley.
It really feels like WWE shouldn't have made these mid-card titles. They shouldn't have made. If you don't have good ideas for the mid-card titles, you shouldn't have made them. Like
the idea is. Go ahead, sorry.
And I could figure out 2 separate mid-card title matches for WrestleMania very easily. Like Becky versus Lyra kind of writes itself, and Becky's a big enough star that will prop up that matchup, and they have the story of the mentorship protege type of thing or whatever. Then with Chelsea Green, it's Chelsea versus Piper, which is a simple story to tell, but there's not enough time for them, and they haven't even really kind of teased that outside of the Rumble elimination. So that doesn't seem like they are invested in that title enough to make it a singles matchup. So yeah, I totally agree with your assessment before all of this that probably both mid-card titles will be multi-woman title matches.
They just rehashed the same story they did with Chelsea. It's like, hey, who'd you beat in the finals? Michin? All right, we're going to give Michin 30 title shots now. Lyra, who'd you beat in the finals? Dakota? All right, we're going to give Dakota the first title shot now.
It's like
there's more where that came from.
You were building Ivy for weeks just to have her lose. What?
The lovable losers, SP3. The lovable losers.
I swear, Triple H hates American Made. I don't know. Like the expectations for American Made and what we've gotten is just so on different planets. We all thought, we're gonna get a new team Angle. It's gonna be like Kurt Angle, Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas all together. Oh yeah, Chad Gable was one of the best heels in the company last summer, and then
they were never going to put Gable in the main event scene, whether we thought they should or not. There's clearly a spot for him in that mid-card spot. Like the crowd wanted him to win the Intercontinental title. The crowd was behind him. There's very clearly a spot for him in that scene. You're telling me Chad Gable couldn't be more effective than Shinsuke Nakamura right now. You're telling me Chad Gable on SmackDown with that US title couldn't be more effective than Shinsuke, and then doing American Made like with the I realize you'd have to flip the titles because I actually think the tag team division on SmackDown is doing pretty well with things, but the tag team division on Raw sucks. And the mid card on Raw is doing pretty well with Braun Breaker. Now we got AJ Styles. Like they're setting up some stuff there. But the mid card on SmackDown sucks. So you'd have to like flip them and have the mid card and the tag team division on SmackDown both suck. You know, it'd just be nice if they were all good. That would be pretty helpful on this.
Like, yeah, it would be very helpful if we could have a good mid card on Raw and SmackDown, a good tag team division on Raw and SmackDown. But it's really like one has one, the other has the other.
Yeah, just flip the titles. Like if Chad Gable and American Made, Chad Gable US champion, and then American Made world tag team champions, but they're just both on Raw. You move all the Intercontinental stuff to SmackDown, and you're okay. You just got to figure out a way to flip this without, you know, completely ruining the integrity of the brand split, because that is super important, of course.
Of course. They really care about that, right? Like, you know, they wouldn't have anyone randomly from SmackDown show up on Raw or anything like that, or, you know, Raw superstars going over to SmackDown all willy-nilly, you know? It's integrity.
Roxanne Perez and Seth Rollins are the final qualifiers for the Elimination Chamber. No real surprise here. I think Roxanne always looked like she was going to win, especially with the Judgment Day stuff. I said on yesterday's show, I was like, yeah, Judgment Day is going to take a bunch of L's on this show. That's going to be the setup. Is this group is just a bunch of losers, and they're going to go 0 for 3. That's exactly what happened. And Seth, no surprise that he beat Finn to enter into the men's chamber. What'd you make of these matches? And
really strong match to close the show, I thought.
I thought Seth and Finn was great.
Seth and Finn just have that type of chemistry where they're guaranteed 3 3/4 stars or higher every single time they wrestle each other. It's always very good to borderline great every time they go at it. And this was another strong addition to their catalog together here. I thought that Finn worked the matchup very well, but like, I mean, how many times can we have Finn lose in this type of situation and still consider him a threat for the main event scene?
I thought he was going to pull it out. I thought he was going to pull it out on the doubles. And then I saw the cover. I was like, oh no, that's the crucifix pen cover. That's the crucifix reverse cover right there. And that's exactly what happened. But when he hit that double stump, I was like, oh shit, they didn't have Finn win this thing? And then, yeah, they did the crucifix reversal cover. I was like, oh no, never mind. This is how we're getting out. Good finish though. Good match overall. But yeah, Finn's a loser. Dom's a loser. Raquel's a loser. Support Judgment Day. Carlito doesn't wrestle. He's got the best gig in the world. He just doesn't care to wrestle. So yeah, sure. What are you doing? Playing video games? All right, cool.
Eats apples.
Who's the new member? Like, who can actually be? Who is somebody they can inject into this group that makes them a threat again?
That's the key. That you asked the key question there. Makes them a threat again. I can come up with someone on the roster who can be on the team or something like that. Someone who's not doing anything, you know, relatively meaningful. But as far as like making them a threat again, it would have to be like a top star. Like it would have to be someone like. I mean, Omos is a good shout because he's not doing anything, and they brought him back here for no goddamn reason. And he at least has that intimidation factor that make them a little bit different. It'll give them someone who could be overpowering and stuff like that. But I think Judgment Day is DOA. It's done. It's over. They're not going to be a threat anymore. They could be a mid card to undercard act. They will get meaningful time because they're a group of multiple stars. But I think the only act of this, or the only people in this group that are going to survive this group, is Dom and Liv.
What about Karrion Kross? He needs friends now.
That's an interesting shout, and he does fit in with the aesthetics of the group. I did hear on social media last night there was a small minority pushing for a Malachi Black. That's his introduction back to WWE as being the newest member of the Judgment Day, which I was like, no. I was like, no, let's not do that. Let's not do that to him. Let's not mess him up immediately and put him with this bunch of losers. But yeah. Maybe someone from NXT who's ready to be called up. Maybe someone like a Eddie Thorpe from NXT.
What about Tony D'Angelo? He comes in and he
brings the whole family.
Yeah,
I can see that.
You should just you get some good skits out of it. Who cares about the wrestling? No one cares about that. They do some great backstage stuff with them. Carlito and Tony D'Angelo interacting. That's gold.
Tony negotiating with Dom over coming to the group.
Andre Chase taking over Judgment Day. Only if the GOAT Thea Hale comes in there.
I got a good shout. Rosemary. Let's take this WWE TNA partnership to the next level. Rosemary joins the Judgment Day.
That doesn't scream like taken to the next level though, or
it is
incredible. Oh.
That's credibility right there, Rosemary.
Pretty sure she's lost like all of her NXT and TNA matches.
Who remembers wins and losses? Come on, Jeremy. What are we talking about here?
Solo should take over the Judgment Day after he loses the bloodline. He should look for some new friends. And he just interacts with Raquel. Do you imagine those interactions?
That's another interesting question. Who do you think turns babyface between Solo and Jacob?
I think Jacob Fatu turns babyface whether he wants to or not.
That's the same thought that I had. I was like, WWE will stupidly think that there's going to be Solo, but it's going to be Jacob whether they like it or not.
Yeah, Jacob's going to be the guy coming out of that. Because Solo, no one's rooting for him as a babyface. They're just not. You can feed Solo some heels, mind you, or feed him some baby faces if you want to try to keep him heel. There's enough popular baby faces on the roster where if you want to try to keep Jacob as a heel, you can do it. So I realize they're on different brands, but we're talking about Sami Zayn. You want to make Jacob a heel, you ain't gonna get a better baby face than Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
So there's baby faces for Jacob if you want to keep him a heel.
I think this company is so devoid of like legitimate, well-booked heels that they need Jacob Fatu to continue being a heel for a little while longer. Because what was it? Maybe 6 months ago, I was like, yeah, the company is like has a plethora of top baby faces, but there's not a lot top heels. 6 months ago, it was just really Solo Sikoa and Gunther, but they've basically beaten Solo to death. They've ruined the character that was the ring general for Gunther. Gunther's bringing it back with promos like he did last night. He's getting good heat and he's going against someone who's ultra popular so he can get the heat back, but they have really broken down the essence of what the ring general character was, where this world title run doesn't even feel remotely in the same stratosphere as his Intercontinental Championship run, let alone his NXT UK title run. So I think that they have to kind of devoid and invest in Jacob Fatu as the heel. I would say Jacob Fatu is the person who beats whoever wins Cody versus John Cena at WrestleMania, and he's the next WWE champion. after whoever wins between those two guys, or whoever wins between Cody and Punk, because I've seen that's been getting an uproar from fans online as well. There's whoever comes out WWE champion, I think Jacob Fatu is the person who dethrones them after WrestleMania, and you make him your new top heel for a little while.
I'm for it. I'm for Jacob Fatu being the top heel. The problem the WWE is having with heels is not necessarily that they don't have any, but like you said, like the credibility of them is the issue. Solo loses all the time. Drew lost the big feud to Punk and then lost to Jay, which is fine. Jay was on the come up.
And then his Bloodline Hunter storyline is just kind of in the air, kind of. He's feuding with Jimmy now, I guess. Or at least dealing with Jimmy in the Bloodline Hunter storyline. So, and then we've already heard about all the rumors about he possibly facing Damian Priest at WrestleMania and stuff like that. So, yeah, it doesn't seem like when it's around WrestleMania time that they really kind of invest in their heels. Like they just want to do babyface versus babyface matches.
Solo loses all the time. Kevin is a great heel, but he's also been beat to death by Cody. So those are kind of your top heels, and you haven't given them any signature wins. You've given them some signature moments. Like they get their moments on television, but there hasn't been that credible victory where it's like, oh yeah, this is a guy that I should be taking serious. Kevin gets by because he's so good as a character. And his moments are much bigger than Solo just attacking Cody with the hood up that he does like every 6 months. Kevin at least has some big time moments. Again, all these guys just lose on all the major shows. Gunther was the guy that they had in that spot, but they didn't do him any favors by losing to Cody. I realized nobody cares about that crown jewel thing, and no one should care. But it's still a television show that people watched. And then they had him bitched out by Damian Priest, and then he needed help in matches where he didn't need help against. And Gunther, they're at least giving some signature wins to, but they're not giving him the moments. It's like they can't figure out, like, hey, maybe we should give a guy moments and victories to really establish them.
Yeah, they always emphasize moments over storytelling and wins.
Hello, Sean.
Unlike Sean Ross Sapp, who puts emphasis on everything.
I'm going to put emphasis on my new show. You all have In the Weeds. I am going to have a new daily show called Before Judging This Guy from His Past Performance as the Head Writer. Just know there was a man who picked it apart to the point that it was no longer his ideas anymore. Chin scratch emoji daily.
That's a mouthful there.
That's a lot of words.
I feel like that she said.
Yeah, I feel like that goes over the 100 characters, and you might have to cut that down.
Unfortunately,
well, it's going to be BJTG FHPP ATHW JKTT WAMWPIA TTP TIWNLH IA, and then I will use the chin scratch emoji.
It sounds like you were doing Morse code.
Yeah.
Just making it easy for the viewer.
Yeah, that'll be good for SEO. Sean, we're scheduled to be joined by Maya World in like 4 minutes. Do you have a question or anything?
No, I did a show with her last year of which she revealed that I had her blocked on Twitter at one point. And then Reg knows. Reg was like, "What'd you do?" And she was like, "I said something mean to Sean about the paywall. He blocked me." But the funny thing is I remembered specifically unblocking her because somebody posted a clip of her and tagged her, and I was like, damn, she's really good. Like she's incredible. And I was like, I should probably unblock her. I can't remember why I blocked her at that point, but I was like, damn, she's like a really great wrestler. And I mean, not just like for how long she had been doing it. She was just really good. So no questions. We get along great now, as best I know.
We'll bring up that you had her blocked and see
let's not.
Yes.
It's not. We've moved past that. It's in the rear view now, and she's doing great. She's fantastic, and I'm not surprised that she's getting the opportunities that she's getting. I had tweeted last week that like people will look back at that Megan Bain match in like 10, 15 years, and it'll be like when people say, "Oh, remember when so and so wrestled on Velocity against so and so?" That's how that will be, and she's doing really good. Like I know that she did. I know she'd done a few AEW things. She did the one with Thunder Rosa last year, I want to say, and she had done ROH a couple years ago as well. So I mean, like the fact that they're like, "Hey, we're gonna put you in there against Athena. We're gonna put you in there against Thunder Rosa." And by the way, this new girl that we're looking to get over big time speaks a lot of their confidence in her.
I suspect you'll see her popping up on television more. She's got a big match WrestleMania weekend against Mayu Watanabe, so it's a big time.
Did you hear about the Bengals' huge re-signing?
The punter?
Yeah. Best punter in the league.
Yeah.
Sean got
they said we wouldn't get these deals done.
Aren't they franchise tagging T. Higgins?
Yeah, but they're gonna re-sign him long term. Just because Joe Burrow guilted them into it. He gaslit them. I love it. It's wonderful. It's the way that things should happen here. It is. But
are you going to Raw next week, Sean?
I don't know. I don't think so. If so, ain't nobody hosting the post show. So
that's also
I'll show up and review the show in like 5 minutes.
I bet you would.
Be our shortest show. That was good. Needed more death here. Thanks for tuning in.
Sorry for all of you that sent super chats and humper chats. I'll catch you.
I'll read those. That's fun. They're all just gonna be, "Where's Sean? What is Sean doing?"
Pretty much.
Sometimes I'll get, "Where is Ibu?" still like 4 weeks later. I'm like, damn, guys.
Welcome.
Just be a lot of "Where's Sean?" humper chats. Well, there's our guest. You're allowed to hang around if you would like, Sean. If she's ready, she can give me a thumbs up. We can bring her on. All right, there we go.
Look at, there she is. She's ready. The television star.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna make a quick trip. I'm gonna make a quick trip to her living room.
She changed it.
That was perfect timing. That was perfect timing. Oh my god!
Right as you said that.
It's crazy because what y'all didn't see was like she walked out of the room as soon as I walked in. So.
Oh yeah, I did.
The Wi-Fi dropped out in this room.
Sean. Well, I didn't get to give you a proper introduction there, but you've seen her on AEW television. She's all over the independent scene, easy for me to say, independent scene as well. She had a match at WrestleMania weekend for Pandemonium Pro. It's Mayu Watanabe. She has Maya World. Maya, how you doing?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us here today. We really appreciate it. First question right off the bat, like, what was the AEW experience like, and how have things been since your match against Megan Bain?
It's always fun going to AEW. All the girls are so nice. They're so like helpful in anything that I need. It's been fun since I've had a lot of good feedback from it. And I just heard some yesterday that I was really excited about. So like from Athena, so like hopefully it keeps happening. I keep going back and we'll see what happens.
So you mentioned Athena, and we know you trained under Athena. So kind of explain like that experience working with Athena as a trainer, and then also having that match with her on Ring of Honor television last year, and kind of tell like how your development has been under her.
I started training with Athena right whenever I like started to break out. I think that she made a real big difference. Like my coach, Lou Gotti from DFW All Pro, he's my OG coach, who is really underrated. And I wish more people knew about him because he helped really like when I got to Athena, she was already like you're good. You're already good. I just need to help you like polish up these things. So shout out to him. But since I've been training with her, I think a lot of my confidence has come from just what she tells me. Like she gives me such good advice and such good TV advice, and just whenever I'm backstage, and things like that. But like it's no coincidence that as soon as I started with her, a lot of stuff started picking up and a lot of people started noticing who I was. So I give a lot of props to her for sure.
So I don't know how accurate Cage Match is with everything, but they got your first match listed in March 2023. Is that correct?
It's not my first match, but it was my first match like basically on the indies. I wrestled at my school, which are like student matches. So like I had like 4 before I really had like that match in March. So it's probably like my 5th or 6th match.
But you've basically been doing this for 2 years, give or take. Okay,
Yes,
so
for sure.
what got you started with everything that made you want to jump right in, and then just what got you started with everything?
I always watched, of course. I always wanted to like, I don't think I always wanted to wrestle, but I always did love wrestling as a fan. I always say it wasn't until like 2015, whenever I saw like Sasha Banks in the Horsewoman era, of course, that made me want to wrestle. Because I was like, oh, this is cool. But then when I saw her and like just saw who she was in the ring, her swagger, like she was the coolest thing to me. And she made me want to be a wrestler for sure. I was really heavily into sports, so I played all the sports you can think of, but basketball was my main one. And I ended up having like 1 year in college for it before, things happened. So whenever I stopped that, I was like, okay, it's time. Like I need to wrestle. And that was 2021. And that's when I started training.
So you say you have a background in basketball. Me and Jeremy are very much into basketball. So I want to ask you what position you played and how is like the training in comparison to in basketball to wrestling?
So I played point guard and shooting guard, mostly shooting guard, but like I could do point, of course. The difference, there's not really, so basketball really helped me with wrestling, just footwork stuff and things like that, and body control, of course. But mostly all the running that we do, I wish I could go back to my like college conditioning. Like it was a real culture shock, a real difference, like having like organized sports where you could practice every day to just going on your own, and you just got to remember like keeping that consistency. But I wish I still played basketball because it helped so much wrestling, just the body control, the freaking practice every day consistently. But it definitely like helped shape me for being on my own though, like and making sure I go to the gym at a set time and making sure I do this and that. So I'm really grateful for basketball in the long run.
You mentioned basketball, and I was stalking the Twitter timeline, researching. It's research purposes. You mentioned you got sentled. What tweet got you? I have to know.
No, my friend did. We were driving back from the show we had in Austin, and it was the one, oh my God, which one was it? It was one where Luca, I think it was like the GM texted Luca, and my friend showed me. He said, "Hey, like look at this text that the GM sent Luca. Why would he do that?" And I'm reading it, and I look up, and I see it said Sentinel, and I felt bad because he social media a lot. So when I saw it, I was like, "Oh yeah," and I just tweeted about it. And I was like, "Guys, I don't want to tell him in person, so I'm just gonna tweet about it." So
did they eventually find out that they were Sentinel? Did you have the heart to tell him, like, hey, this is
right next to him in the car? He knew. He was like, "What you tag me in?" And then he read it, and he was like, "Oh, that was fake." I was like, "Yeah, I just didn't know how to tell you."
One of the greatest tweets or Twitter accounts.
I don't know. Like it's like one of them got like 500,000 likes. I'm like, how do they keep doing this? How do they keep getting away with this?
Oh, it's just, it's very clever, honestly.
It's
what they, yeah, but very clever of what this person. And now like they've learned Photoshop, so they're putting like photo tags under Draymond Green saying I punched Jordan Poole and everything. Oh, they doing amazing work.
One of the greatest minds, honestly.
Many duplicators, but can't duplicate the original. You mentioned we know Mercedes Moné is coming to House of Glory in about a month now. Let's go ahead and manifest. Let's throw it out there. And what do we got to do to get this match for you, Maya?
I've been doing ever since it's announced. I've been like, what do I have to do? I talked to her specifically. I'm like, please, you put it like a word in, not even about that, but like I talked to her like her Instagram live, but I really wanted to be like, hey, like, but she's like, Hog is picking her opponent. So I don't know what Hog is doing, but I hope they have like a tryout or something because I'll be there. I'll cancel whatever I need to cancel and I'll be there. Like, you don't have to tell me nothing.
Don't have to tell you twice.
I'll get there.
So you got wanting that match with Mercedes Moné. You've been in the ring with like Thunder Rosa, the most recent episode of Dynamite against Megan Bayne. Who else is on your list outside of like Mercedes of people you really want to get in the ring and square off with?
I really want to wrestle Masha, and Jordan Grace was one who like I was vying for it, and it was so close multiple times. I was like, guys, she's gonna be gone soon, please. And then she was gone. So I really want to wrestle Masha before she is unavailable for me. So Masha's also number one. Billy Starks, who I haven't got to wrestle yet. Let me think. I know I want to wrestle like against Athena, like in a match. Like we had a really competitive match on Ring of Honor, but we almost had a match in the Indies, which was going to be crazy. So I really want that back again. Let me think. Oh my God. Kylie Ray, Zeta Steele, girls like that. Maggie Lee, which I actually am wrestling her soon. So I'm really excited for that. That's all I can think of so far, but I know there's a lot more.
Do you have other WrestleMania matches lined up besides Watanabe?
Yeah, they haven't been announced yet, but I think I can say them because it's just the show. But I know I'm going to be on Spark Joshi, which is going to be like a conjunction show with Stardom. So hopefully I get to face another Joshi because I love them and their strong style. Oh my gosh, I do have the Future or the FSW Future Stars of Wrestling show, the all women's like under 25 breakout tournament. Oh gosh, there's like 6. I can't even think right now. There's like 4 that's on the same day, and I already had like a really good promoter or friend of mine who's like, please don't do that, please slow down. But I'm like, he says quality over quantity, but I'm like, what if they're all quality though? Like, all these matches are quality on that day, so I'm like, I can't cancel. But I think the GCW for the culture as well. Gosh, I have it in my notes, but I don't want to get on my phone right now. But I have like lined up so far.
We have
Nice.
differing opinions from wrestlers of I call it the speedball run because speedball did something insane, like 14 matches in 4 days. And some people want to do that like at least once. Like we got to experience this at least once. And then other people are like, I just want like 2 or 3 standout matches and go from there. And I think speedball even encourages like, hey, go for it, do that run. But I think every wrestler or a lot of wrestlers we talk to are always like, I want to do that at least once of just get as many matches in as possible. And then in the next few years, maybe I'll worry about just some quality stuff over the quantity stuff. But like if you have enough quantity matches, you assume most of them are going to be quality. So it still adds up the same in the end.
I've never seen like a bad speedball match. So I feel like all those matches were quality anyways.
That is a fact. That is a fact. So we're talking about manifesting this Mercedes matchup. For me personally, once I saw you go against Athena on ROH TV, I've been trying to manifest you becoming a minion because of your relationship, your connection with her. So what do we have to do, or what do you have to do to kind of encourage Athena to grow the MIT organization outside of just Billy Starks, with you being the latest addition?
You know, I've been trying. Like, I annoy her I just seen her yesterday and was like, when can I be a minion? I annoy her every day about it. It's up to her. I feel like she's transitioning. She's not transitioning from that, but I don't know. She, like me, like, why have you not added me? I'm your number one. I'm your number one student. Add me. But, you know, she doesn't want to right now, I guess. I don't know what it is. I'm going to keep trying, though. I'm going to show her this, and then maybe she will. I'm going to show her that people want it. The people want it. And then maybe she will.
We'll see.
I will be the first signature on the petition. We're going to make a petition.org. Like,
I don't understand the politics. It's crazy. I'm really trying.
Well, this will be an article on Fightful now. We've got a little bit of traction for some
Tell her to
reason.
make me a freaking minion, guys.
We're gonna get this out there. And we're gonna get you as a minion.
I told her I'm gonna start a movement if she doesn't. So then she's gonna be annoyed into doing it. But then what? Now what?
The hashtag we want Maya minion movement.
That's period. Easy. I'm gonna tweet it right now. After this, y'all gonna see it.
There we go. Any plans to, or any desires, thoughts to potentially go to Japan for a little while and do a tour over there?
Yes, that's my number one thing I've wanted to do. Like, I I would drop everything right now if I could go to Japan tomorrow. Me and Jada Stone, my friend, who we that's all we talked about. Anytime we're together, that's all we talk about. And so I'm glad that she got to go over there and do TJPW. And I've been rooting for her along the way because I know like soon it's gonna be me. Hopefully we both can be there at the same time because we are a tag team. But yeah, that's my number one goal and desire. Besides getting signed, of course, that's the only other thing I want to do. And not the only other thing, but that's the biggest thing I want to do in wrestling is to go to Japan.
So you talk about your love for Joshi wrestling. Who are the Joshi wrestlers that you watch? And for, the audience that we have out here that mostly will watch like the top promotions out there, who is the people that you suggest they should watch?
Oh, from the old school, I definitely recommend, of course, Manami Toyota. That's who I watch. That's who I watch a lot. She's so chaotic, but I think she's amazing. Nobody could ever duplicate that. I think she needs to be in more greatest ever conversations. I mean, we all know she is, but not a lot of people do. But like now, I love Azumi. I love Starlight. I love I love. Oh no, you're perfect. It's fine. I love Mayu Iwatani. That's my girl. I'm still like, I don't think it ever settled in that I got in the ring with her and wrestled her. It still hadn't settled in a year later. Oh my gosh, I don't think right now. Miyu Watanabe is another dream match of mine, which is why I'm really excited that's happening. And of course, Mayu Yamashita. Those are my main ones that I watch and love.
You got to wrestle Sumi Sakai in one of her last matches before she retired. What was that match like?
That was so I also manifested that match as well. But that was such a good match, and she gave me such good advice about Japan and about the things I want to do when I do go to Japan. And she's just been a real good source for me for things that are happening. So I'm really excited, and I love her. I love that match, and I watch it all the time.
What kind of advice, since you're so recently getting into the wrestling business, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's just training right now and trying to get into the current landscape of pro wrestling as far as making a name for themselves, similar to what you have?
Wrestling is all about like connections. So go everywhere you can, go to train everywhere you can, just show up at certain shows, introduce yourself to people, do whatever it takes to get your name out. Like I said, it's all about getting that foot in the door and just who you know. So don't be shy to get out there and make friends. I have so many friends in the wrestling business that people are like, how do you know this person? It's not compared to my friend Darian Bankston, though. He apparently knows everybody and their mama. But I try to get on that level because that's all it is connections.
So we play a game on this channel. It's called Partner Promo Punch in the Face. I'm going to give you 3 names. Pick one to partner with, pick one to promo against, pick one to punch in the face. Basically have a match with. Okay? I'm going to try to make this a little difficult for you.
Partner.
So we're going to go Athena, Mercedes Moné, and Thunder Rosa.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Thunder, I love you. Thunder Rosa, you know I love you, but you're going to get punched in the face for this one. I'll promo against Athena because I think she will bring out some fire in me, and definitely partner with Mercedes.
There you go. We appreciate
Good
you
choices.
playing the game. We appreciate you joining us here on the show today. Maya, let everybody know what you got coming up and where they can follow you at.
Thank y'all for having me. This Friday, I'm going to be at Firestar Pro Wrestling in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm facing Ella Envy for their Firestar Pro Championship, which is a really great promotion. Like some great people have come from there. Some ID people. Oh my gosh, I can't think right now. And Javon Evans, they've come from there. So definitely a show that you wouldn't want to, watch. And then I'll be at All Caribbean, which is just like a smaller promotion, but we've been doing big things over there, going to the Bahamas and Jamaica and stuff. So grateful for them for getting me out of the country. Those are this weekend, but I'm just excited for Mania weekend. I've been really preparing for that. So these next shows, I always go out there and show out anyways, but these next shows are just preparing myself for what's to come that weekend because I'm gonna have a lot of matches, guys. Just be ready for that. But yeah, and you can follow me on like Instagram. It's at It's Maya World, and the same on Twitter. And I'll post everything that I'm gonna be coming up as well.
Everybody keep a lookout for those announcements. We're gonna manifest Minions. We're gonna manifest Mercedes. We're gonna manifest everything we can.
Yes, guys, please.
Thank you, Maya. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, y'all.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
There you go, Maya World. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Yes.
We want Maya Minion. Hashtag. Put in
we're getting
the
getting
chat.
the hashtag. Yeah, we're getting the hashtag. It's gonna be an article. That'll probably be the first article that I do
Nice.
right after the show today. I forgot to switch the background. That is again, that's a Joel special that I'm still not used to doing. So at some point I'll remember to change the background to the triple box there. So, yes, Maya World. Shout out to her for joining us. So again, I like to, once the guest shows up, I feel better about telling these behind the scenes stories, because then I'm not ruining and then have the guest doesn't show up and I end up jinxing things. So I got the time zones confused on this. I'm very dumb when it comes to time zones. So SP3 suggested we get Maya on the show. I was like, yeah, I'll reach out. We'll see if we make this happen. So I reached out and she's like, oh yeah, I can do 11:30 Central. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Our show's from 10 Eastern to noon Eastern. I was like, so 10:30 Eastern works great. So that's fantastic. And like, we just let that sit for a day. Literally, like a whole day went by. And I'm driving home yesterday from getting groceries. And I'm like, just thinking in my head, oh, what's on tomorrow's show? Oh, we got Maya at 10:30. And then I was like, she said 11:30 Central. Wait a second. 11:30 Central would be 12:30 Eastern. And I had to message her and I'm like, I'm so dumb. I forgot time zones and like how they work. And she's like, oh, I didn't even catch that myself. And so we ended up rearranging things to where it could be 11 Central and noon Eastern for us. But yes, the guess almost fell through on my fault for not knowing time zones at all. But it's always very funny sometimes how this stuff comes together. But shout out to My World for joining us. And then Sean and the background switch that happened that was very unexpected.
That was
the start
awesome.
of the
that needs to be at least a clip on social media. That was like perfect. That was perfect.
That was fantastic. All right. We got NXT tonight, SP3, and we got hot takes. So before we get to NXT, let's do our hot takes for the week and the hot takes that we'll see if come true for the year. Hottest takes that we have. So last week, you said Mark Briscoe will win the AEW World Title before he retires. This could be something that we might never know. This show might not exist by the time.
By the time it happens.
Yeah. And I said that AEW Dynamite would be over 800,000 viewers by the end of the year. And I got to be honest, after last week's numbers, I ain't feeling great about this. But consistency. They're putting on consistently good shows. I'm hoping we see some growth and all of that. And you know what? I've decided I'm going to loophole this whole thing and say that when you factor in Max, it's over 800,000. Unless they're doing like 300 on TBS, then I don't know if I can lie about 500 on Max. So don't drop that low. That's all I'm asking. Don't drop that low. As long as they're in 500, I can lie and say 300 on Max. All right, SP2, do you have hottest take for the week?
Yes. My hottest take is Ricky Starks will become the NXT champion before this summer.
Okay. So 2 out of the 3 weeks, we've predicted something good for Ricky Starks.
Mm-hmm.
I said he'd be Intercontinental champion at the end of the year. Yeah.
You did, because we had our whole debate about. I put it on social media. I didn't even remember to mention it today that we had that whole debate last Tuesday when you wanted to put him on Raw and SmackDown, and I was adamant. And then look at that. He listened to me. He watched In the Weeds, and he was like, you know what? I'm calling Sean today, and I'm going to NXT because SP3 made that argument so superbly. I'm forced to go to NXT. Even before I sign a likeness deal, so they can't even say my name on air.
I think I'm confident in him being Intercontinental champion. My hottest take is going to be Ricky Starks will use the name Ricky Starks. That's going to be.
Yeah, I was thinking that one too. I was like, it should be that Ricky Starks' name is not going to be Ricky Starks.
Yeah, I think that's actually the hot take. Is that
would be a hottest take?
Ricky Starks. Yeah, that would be it. All right. My hottest take. I don't know. I'm going to admit this is a little more lukewarm than hot. No, I'll make it hot. I was gonna go with the Bellas win the WWE Women's Tag Team titles, but I feel like that's a little too lukewarm because it doesn't feel hot to me.
Okay.
So here is a hot take. Nikki Bella will win the WWE Women's Championship at WrestleMania 42. Going a year out, Nikki Bella,
Okay.
Women's Champion, next year's WrestleMania.
Okay. I like specific ones, like
Yes.
events, stuff like that. That's a hot take. Yes.
Yeah. That's going to be the big. That's going to be big thing. Nikki Bella. Going Nikki Bella. Nikki Sour, baby.
On the Nikki Bella agenda.
That's
After
right.
her great performance on Traders when she Bella bustered Wes at the round table.
Nikki Bella rules. Absolutely rules. All right. NXT tonight. We mentioned Ricky Starks will sign a contract. That guy in the white wife beater will sign a contract. Whatever his name is. We're not sure
The
yet.
shocking arrival
Of that guy. He will sign a contract. The Meta Girls take on Sol Ruka and Zarya. Stacks against Sean Spears. NXT Women's North American Championship #1 contender Jada Parker, Karma Petrovic. And for some reason, Carmen Petrovic is listed twice. So that's fantastic. Glad. And Jordan Grace will appear as well.
Should I start selling my Zarya stock? Because he feels like she's been replaced by Jordan Grace.
Oh. Yeah, for Zarya, it's the time off kind of hurt her, I feel like.
Yeah.
The time off hurt her a little bit. And now I think she's okay in this Sol Ruka spot. I don't think it's the worst spot in the world.
I just think I don't think she's gonna get her crack until she turns heel on Sol Ruka.
Yeah. She's getting consistent television time. They got so many good women in NXT though, who I mean Julia and Roxanne or Julia and Vacker are now the faces of the division. And then you got Jordan coming in. The GOAT Thea Hale is going to return at some point. Sol Ruka's on the come up. I think Zarya's still there. I think she's okay because they ain't going to be in NXT forever. I mean, maybe they are.
Yeah.
But they ain't going to be in NXT forever. I think Zarya.
She's going to be there longer. That's for sure.
Yeah. The thing is of those three, she was kind of always the third person.
Yeah. She was Chris Bosh.
She was the least seasoned out of the three. So she was always going to kind of be the third person of that trio there. I wouldn't sell the stock yet. I'd hold on to it.
Okay.
It might have diminishing value right now, but I'd hold on to it. It'll rise again. You can sell it when it's a little bit higher.
Okay. All right. I'll hold on to my Zarya stock. I only have a little bit of Eddie Thorpe stock still in there. I was very but it's called Carl Frederick's stock, but I still have a little bit of it left over. I was very hopeful, even though that was the equivalent of Moxley beating Copeland for me from Vengeance Day. Thorpe beating Trick, because it seems like all signs are still pointing to Trick and Oba being the Stand and Deliver main event. So it's just baffling you have your the potential #1 contender lose at the PLE before then.
Yeah, Joel and I talked about that yesterday. Like if you're doing Trick and Oba, this is a weird loss to give Trick, and that's why I'm not sold that Trick and Oba is the match anymore.
I'm still sold because I know what they're going to do. They're just going to have Trick get his win back at Roadblock.
I don't love it.
Me
I
either.
don't love it.
Neither.
Is Roadblock in February?
No, it's in March.
Okay.
Which means that they should have done a strap match with a black man at Roadblock, not at Vengeance Day. Just saying. I felt targeted by the losses and then the zoom in on black fans after Javon lost and Trick lost. I felt targeted.
Javon, I thought was going to lose. I
thought that was the right decision because that feud's going to continue after this. But like Trick, Trick wasn't, but it was the fact that they purposely zoomed in on black fans after the 2 black wrestlers lost in Black History Month. That's why I felt targeted.
NXT's tonight, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow, myself and Joel Pearl, covering all the stuff going on in the world of wrestling. SP3, thank you as always. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Find me on the Twitter. I'm not used to being on this side. Find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSV3. I will be live in about 30-40 minutes with Romeo Anthony Colon to further break down Monday Night Raw. We gave you a little tidbits here, but we gave a very thorough breakdown over on Rated Raw Review. So join us over there while we talk about last night's Monday Night Raw and have some fun. So check that out. Check out all the great content we got on the channel right now. True Hill Heat Flagship Podcast did a review for AEW Grand Slam Australia, did a review for Vengeance Day. So always enjoy the support, and check out si.com where I did my WrestleMania predictions card. That's up right now. So thank you as always, Jeremy. I'm looking forward to seeing you again on Thursday.
We'll do this again on Thursday. Thank you everybody for hanging out. Thank you to My World for joining us and being gracious with their time this morning. Guys, appreciate y'all. Leave a thumbs up if you haven't already. Leave us a good review on iTunes if you haven't done that. Subscribe to the channel. Tap the bell for notifications. We'll be back tomorrow in the weeds, 10 a.m. Eastern. Goodbye, everybody.